Oh, oh my god. Oh. Holy fucking shit. Oh.
No, 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 I just got it. I just got it.
Center of attention.
Damn it.
We're in the lead.
What a waste of a bullet.
Enemies on the way to the win. We lost the lead.
Jesus Christ. And I'm dead. Like. Oh, what? Sorry about what? Fucking bullshit, cunt. Blocked every single fucking attack. And fucking got me through a wall. Absolute fucking bull. I'm gonna go kick his fucking ass. Fuck that. Oh, you don't suck, Morby. I love you. You're really good at drifting, Morby. Oh my god, I killed it in one hit. Are you serious? Oh my god, that was fucking beautiful. That was fucking beautiful. Holy shit. Oh, I wish I could screen cap that, but I'm streaming so I can't. Oh my god.
Anyway, guys, I might leave. I'm getting pissed off. Doom, I might play with you tomorrow. Well, actually, I will play with you tomorrow. For sure. I am! I'm giving up! I'm giving up, man! I'm giving up! This game is pissing me off for once. I've never gotten so mad. I don't 1v1 me, bro! 1v1 me! Oh yeah? What, like I said, 1v1 me, noob. 1v1 me! 1v1 me! 1v1 me! Oh my god! Siege is better, it's more tactical, it's more realistic!
Jesus Christ.
Alright. Anyway, I'm not raging, I'm just...
Ugh. Fuck that. Oh no! How about fucking no? No! 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 Boy. Fuck that shite. Whoa! Could you fucking not? What the fuck was that? With my Havel shield. Because walking across here, it's cinematic as fuck. Where's my smelter? There we go. Oh! Oh! What? 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 What the fuck? What? What? There's no f***ing with my mission. What should I do, guys? Let me know. I'm gonna kill these super mutants while you decide. Wow. What the fuck was that? Great. Now I'm limping. This. Whoop. Hi.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Oh! Fucking hell, mate. Oh, that fucking got the blood pumping in it. Holy fucking shit. If you guys could see the stream now, holy shit. What the fuck? Wait, Christian, come to me. Am I swimming to you? I'm coming to you. Am I swimming?
No. You are quite high though. You're just running very slowly.
Oh mate, I'm gonna
Where's the
quickly.
pilot?
Oh, I can't record it because I'm fucking. Been a long time. Should have left you. Lapo beach dip do dip do dip dip do dip 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 do. Hello, princess. How does the taste of my bitch what? Oh, nice. Oh shit. That's fucking low.
Maybe the armored vault suit will help you out there, huh?
Ooh.
That'll be good for the book. In fact, want to help me with the research? I can pay you, and it'll be fun.
Sweet. What's this book you're working on?
Well, it's a dangerous place out there in the wastes, right? People could really use a compilation of good advice, like a wasteland survival
Or a
guide.
porn compilation.
For that, I need an assistant.
I'm sorry.
They're here!
Oh,
There might. Yeah. Ying went to the door to the right.
JJ, you're playing a bad game here, buddy. I can't teabag all the time. Oh, I can see your cool looking gun in your fucking pocket. That's nice.
Thank you.
What? Are you talking to your skill friends again?
I just realized I could see his like colored pistol in his pocket. The fact that it's
Thank you.
standard is nice.
10 seconds. 5 seconds to go. Op 4 eliminated.
Boom.
Oh shit! Wait, what the fuck? Blacksmith is raiding me, a party of 18. Holy shit, Blacksmith, you beautiful bastard, you. What are you doing, Ashley?
I'm playing casual.
Nice.
Very nice, very nice. I've decided fuck it and I'll play a bit of Sophia. While I stroke my pussy.
That to you if I could.
Yeah.
And Rose has got
Oh, just
11,000.
imagine
She
that.
could give that to you.
Oh, that'd be
Being
cool.
able to just give money.
Yeah, that'd be good. Alright, guys.
Alright, guys.
I'm gonna
Alright,
bid you guys
stream.
adieu.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh.
Bye. What the fuck is that? It's like in squeaky noises from Christian's mic.
Ooh, I like.
Ah! God. Oh my god. Awesome. Ah!
It's off. I'm over fire to worry about.
Just about there. You're in.
So much for getting that lone wolf shit. Quick run!
Oh my god!
No! We got fucked!
Fuck! Oh, you serious?
No! Random fucking fuel rod cannon.
Ow.
Oh, sorry. Wrong button. That was fucking amazing. I was like, I went to dance like this was destiny, and somehow I ended up pulling the trigger on accident. And then I was like, oh shit, whoops. And then all you hear is a light humming in the background.
Oh my god, no!
Shit!
Hey Shadows, how's it going? Shadow Sick here. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back to the stream. I am. Yeah. I think I'll just look at a bunch of stuff I've been wanting to look at. So, obviously, it's already out, but there's a lot of Destiny-related updates and patches and things, as well as a trailer for the new episode. There's also on the off the path of Destiny. I also want to check out the Halo stuff as well. Ideally, I was gonna just edit some videos and shit, but my computer's getting old and it can't handle it. It can't handle me even playing Destiny at this point. Sometimes Destiny just tanks on my PC now. So I've thought about upgrading a PC for a long time, and I'm getting closer and closer to, starting that journey of building another one. I might use this as a stream PC and make a nice beefy graphic beast for PC gaming, because I'm definitely getting more into PC gaming. But I'd like to be able to do more things because I still feel quite limited. I feel a lot more freer on my Xbox because there's no frame rate issues. There's no cutting and slicing, like horizontal slicing and shit. I'm able to pre-roll ads and all this other crap, there's a lot of cool shit that I can do when streaming on Xbox that I can't do when I'm on PC because of the limitations I have right now. When I started with the PC, I didn't intend on using it a lot, which is why I made an average one, like a pretty mediocre PC. Average, decent, this and that. But now I want to fucking step deep and go for a really high-end graphics card with a high-end CPU, fucking lots of RAM, a good motherboard, all that shit. So my next build, and I want to build it on stream too, which would be really cool, is I want to go all in with it so that I don't have to stream games on my PC on the lowest graphics setting. That's probably one of the things that sucks the most for me personally. I'm running Destiny and other games on low and have a lot of stuff turned off for me. And I'd like to be able to chuck it on at least a medium, if not high, right? I can play, when I'm not streaming, because streaming software takes up a lot of your shit, I can play Destiny and other games on the highest graphics setting, but I can't be asked switching back and forth when I'm streaming. So, the solution, get a new PC. So that's the plan. I mean, I can't get one anytime soon. Can't afford that, but it's definitely on the cards, that's for sure. So, we're going to watch these videos, and then I'm going to do a bit of admin. Whether I switch to my phone and stream on Twitch or Instagram or somewhere else, I don't know. But we're going to watch the videos on here, because there's no point watching them on my phone, because you can't see them on my phone. You can only see me, so there's no point to that. So I'll watch them on my PC, maybe do some other shit, and we'll go from there. But this is a bit of a scuffed all over the place stream. But, it is what it is. Now, last night's stream was very fucking successful. A lot of great shit happened. Last stream, I got raided by 86 people. I got a bunch of new followers. We finally broke the barrier of 950. I'm at 953 at the moment. Watched it go down after me talking about it. But I'm happy that I broke it, because I haven't broken it before. So even if we go back to 940 something, I'm glad that I broke that 950 threshold, and we're under a 50 away from 1,000. And 1,000 is my goal. I don't need to go any higher than that. I'd love to, but I don't need to. 1,000's been my threshold shadow goal on any platform. So if Twitch is going to be the first one, the one that I've put the most effort into, then awesome. But we'll see how we go, honestly. So it was a great stream last night. A bunch of gifted subs as well. I got 4 new followers after I pushed that raid onto someone else. Beautiful gentleman by the name of Welsh Master Gaming. And him and 3 of his other combatants or compadres or whatever you want to call it followed as well. So I owe 4 dances. So I'll do those very shortly. So they can either watch this now or later on the VOD. What I am going to do, though, is I am going to put on some music. I am going to play my I've learned a little trick here. I want to play a pre-roll ad, right? A pre-roll ad. So that people don't get ads when they jump into the stream later. So I'm going to run an ad. Feel free to tab out, do some other shit, go up to the bathroom, get something to eat, something to drink. You don't have to stick around. Feel free to leave the tab open if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm just doing this so you guys don't have to deal with ads when you constantly pop in and pop out. So I'll run these every hour, okay? For as long as I'm on anyway, because I don't know if I'll stream the full 3 hours tonight. But I'm going to run this now, put on some music. If you're subscribed, you're going to see me just chilling here. But, yeah. Anyway, let's get it. Because for the people that aren't subscribed, I want to wait for them. I don't want to, you know, do shit while they have to watch an ad. That's just mean. So if you could see me right now, hello. Get the videos up while we wait. How do I go to the bottom? Can I organize it by like sort? Here we go. Now I'm grabbing potential duplicates here, but yeah, I'll delete them as I go. That has only got a couple of videos. As Across has got a lot. But your shadows are back. So before we get into the nitty gritty, I gotta do these dances. I got 4 to do. So this one is for I'm Really Twisted. Welcome to the family, son. Appreciate you. Let's get into these dances. Let's go for ones that we haven't got yet. Go for this one.
Something whispers in my ear and says you're not alone. I am here with you, though you're far away. I am here to stay, but you're not alone. I am here with you, though you're far apart. You're always in my heart.
My legs are sore. Holy shit, but thank you so much. If you're watching this now or later, Really Twisted, appreciate the love and the support. Whew. Right, next one. We got Beautiful Disaster 3. Welcome to the family, son. Appreciate you. Here we go. Let's do this one.
You can't tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man. No time to talk. Music loud, women walk, being kicked around since I was born. Never tolerate, I don't hate, and you may look the other way, but we can try to understand and do your time, not make no man. Whether you're a brother away, whether you're a nothing, staying alive, staying alive. We're the city breaking and everybody shaking, you're staying alive, staying alive. Staying alive, staying alive, staying
Oh, woo! That's for you, Beautiful Disaster. Next one is for Welsh Master Gaming. Welcome to the family, son. Appreciate you. Let's get on to this one.
We're no strangers to love. You know the rules, and so do I. Our full commitment's what I'm thinking of. We wouldn't get this from any other guy. I just wanna tell you how I'm feeling. Gotta make you understand. Never gonna give you up.
Thank you so much for the follow. And this last one's for Mystic Dreamer V. Welcome to the family, son. Appreciate you. Whew. Which one are we gonna do? Let's just do this one.
I got my eyes on you. You're everything that I see. I want your high love and emotion endlessly. I can't get over you.
I might have to remove the song actually, right? Because of all the shit with Drake. I didn't think about that till now. Let's stop that actually. Oh my god. I might have to delete that one, won't I? Will I? Won't I? Do I? Someone please help me out. Whether you're watching this now or later, please tell me if I have to delete that one. I don't know how I feel about that now. That's weird. That's You deserve a proper dance, so let's give you fucking yikes. Let's just go for this one.
When the pimp's in the crib, ma, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. When the pigs try to get at you, park it like it's hot. Park it like it's hot. Park it like it's hot.
Thank you so much for the follow. Sorry about that. Appreciate the love and support. Getting closer and closer. Anywho, let's get into it. All right, let's fucking fire off. Okay, so what we got here?
We go ahead and dive into.
Start this
Hello,
one.
everyone, and welcome back to
Stop.
I Got.
We'll play it like this, shall we?
Episode Revenant, which again is launching just next week on October 8th. But before we go ahead and dive into that, Jerome, we're on the verge now in the last week of completing episode Echoes. Can you tell us a little bit about the story that got us to where we are now?
Sure, absolutely. Well, let's start with the death of the witness, who
That
we
guy.
thoroughly destroyed.
Absolutely.
And his giant, smoky, billowing head dissipated into a mist of darkness, which then coalesced with the traveler's light, right, crystallizing into the echoes. Which fell into the soul system. One of those fell, of course, to Maya Sundaresh, which we know from episode 1. And it fundamentally changed how the Vex saw themselves. And now we're going to get the same treatment with the Scorn, because one of the echoes will be falling to Fikrul, leader of the undead Elixni army. And similarly, that echo is going to prompt the Scorn to evolve, to see themselves in a new way, and to fundamentally change what they are. And I won't spoil anything. I'll let players discover that for themselves. But suffice it to say, Fikrul is evolving his army, he's growing his army, and in order to build Scorn armies, you need a bunch of corpses.
Interesting.
Which is not necessarily in the best interest of the Elixni. So we will be teaming up with Mithrax.
Speaking of Fikrul, we see him right here as well. Now we're taking a look at the new art for episode Revenant.
Look
as
at
well.
Swole Fikrul.
Fikrul's gotten a bit of a glow up, I think.
Absolutely.
to quote the kids.
This whole episode is metal. And I think that shows it right there. That accurately depicts the tone of the season.
It's not messing around. I will say we won't watch the trailer today, but when folks see the trailer, you're right. Metal is the right word to use.
So much slaying. It's going to be
Seriously.
awesome. But the Elixni, of course, want to prevent this, and so we'll be teaming up with Mithrax, the Kell of House Light, and his daughter, Ido, the adorable Ido.
Must be protected at all costs.
Absolutely.
Thoroughly,
and she will be bringing her expertise in herbology and ancient Elixni lore to help us craft tonics, to imbue us with the power that we need to...
See, I don't know how I feel about... It doesn't make sense to me. One thing in particular... I'm gonna pause and nitpick myself but why are these fuckers around? You know what I mean? Like, these are some kind of other race that the Witness had made into its things, and it should primarily just be on the, in the Pale Heart. How is Fikrul commanding these things? How are these things gonna be a problem? How are they an enemy? I hope they explain that, because I'm not just gonna bat over an eyelid and be like, oh yeah, whatever. Fucking hate Scorn. So yeah, this should be good. So let's go back to where we were.
His daughter, Ido, the adorable Ido.
Must be protected at all costs.
Absolutely.
Thoroughly,
and she will be bringing her expertise in herbology and ancient Elixni lore to help us craft tonics, to imbue us with the power that we need to battle this evolving Scorn army.
Interesting. That is, thank you, by the way, for not only, now you've narrative directed us into our segue as well.
Tonics!
So thank you very much. Narrative design as well. And so I think we should go ahead and dive into a little bit of gameplay. Starting over here with you, Clayton. So we just heard a little bit about some new tonics and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about where we are and what we're going to be doing here? This is the new apothecary, I believe?
That's right. So we're in the apothecary space, and Jerome was just mentioning the tonics and potions that we'll be crafting. They come in 2 flavors. They come in combat flavors, and they come in reward flavors.
Okay.
The combat flavors are going to enhance, or rather boost your artifact perks, specific ones.
Yeah.
Higher rarities of these tonics will boost multiple artifact perks, which is really great.
Okay. Yeah.
And then on the reward side, we wanted to create a new or novel way to chase your gear and your weapons that you love.
Yeah.
And we took a lot of inspiration from the success of Into the Light, where players got to attune to specific weapons.
All right.
And so with your reward tonics, you'll be able to attune to specific weapons within the season.
Very nice.
They're not craftable in this season, which is important to note, but you will be able to target them, and they'll have enhanced perks.
Got it. Okay. So
this dude, Artemis, is probably.
Oh man, don't you just love fucking ads? Out of here.
Able to go ahead and chase down that god.
Y'all hearing that? Everybody just hear that right there.
With the help
Not
of this,
craftable.
But also, you know, for the build crafters out there, they're going to have even more to dive into than maybe just the episode artifact and everything. These are going to go ahead and help just boost a lot of those traits, I guess. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So build crafters, make sure your appetites are whetted and ready. There's going to be plenty of stuff to go ahead and dive into.
Boosting.
But we're going to go ahead
things
and
like artifact perks, enriching, boosting
of today's stream, proverbially speaking. As we're on our way over to Onslaught, Clayton, I just want to go ahead and also start there. Onslaught's getting kind of a new revamp this episode as well. You guys have left proverbially very few, if any, stones untouched this time around.
Correct. Yeah. And so, you know, we heard players' feedback. They wanted to see us invest in Onslaught. We are coming out with a brand new Onslaught called Onslaught Salvation.
Yeah.
We are going to have
Let's fucking go,
3
baby.
maps that you'll
Let's
be
fucking go.
in there. You will have some new defenses. We'll have enemy factions that will be fighting into the theme of this episode. We'll have the Scorn.
Am I the only one that didn't really fuck with Onslaught? But I think it's also because I didn't play it a lot. I had a lot of quests and other things I needed to do, so it was way on the back burner for me. Into the Light dropped when I was still doing a bunch of other shit. I don't really have time to sink my teeth into it. And I'm a big fan of Gears of War's wave horde system. And I just felt Onslaught was cool, but I'm like, eh.
We'll have the Dark Cabal.
That's right.
A bunch of other new stuff.
Love
that we'll get
Onslaught,
into.
dude.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll be
Hell
diving
yeah.
into that here briefly. You can see our fire team is now on their way. While we're on the way over as well, I heard a brief mention of our friends in the Shadow Legion as well. Can you tell us what the Shadow Legion is doing here and why they might be in league with Fickrel, Jerome?
The Shadow Legion are bumming. They are in utter disarray. Their leader has been slain, and they are grasping to anyone who can keep them in power.
Yeah.
And Fickrel holds the most powerful artifact around now.
Got it.
So they will be doing his bidding, though it will be a tenuous alliance.
They're going with Fickrel's Riz just for right now, but that may not be the case later on.
That's right. We will do our best to stomp that out.
Thank you. All right, fair enough. Much appreciated. All right, so now we are here. We're in Onslaught, and we're on Widow's Court.
Yeah. So PvP players will recognize this map, and they'll also
So what is this
recognize some of
weapon?
the changes.
What's this weapon you use?
To accommodate for
This is the trailer weapon. Hold on, this is the trailer art weapon. Look at that.
Necessary for an Onslaught activity.
Yeah, a quick refresher for the folks at home that may not have dove into Onslaught recently or since Into the Light. There is the 10 level mode and the 50 level mode, isn't that correct?
Right.
Dude,
so
look at this.
Onslaught Salvation will also be coming with the 3 modes that they've had in the past, which is the playlist 10 wave mode, the normal 50 wave mode, and then we'll have our expert 50 wave mode. And the new thing about Onslaught Salvation, one of the new things, is that it will not be powered fixed like it was prior in Into the Light. It will be power enabled, so your armor and your weapons will matter even more. It will be at the start more difficult, but you can, through getting better, more power and grinding that artifact.
Dude, there's a turret that you can man. Did you see that?
Yeah.
And you'll also be able to rely on some of the new defenses as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were just looking at a turret that maybe Guardians haven't seen since their days on the moon in D1. Can you tell us, what's going on? We got some new defenses, obviously.
We have some new defenses.
This weapon is nuts!
Baker is one of the tech designers we have. She's on the fire team right now, and she has helped us build these defenses, as well as other things in Onslaught. She's worked with the Sandbox team who have knocked it out of the park with this radical turret.
Yeah.
So it is.
Dude, this
kind
Geo's
of
going in right
turret
now.
First, but by upgrade 3, it's going to have more health. It's going to be dealing more damage, but it's also going to have scorching rounds come out of it.
Okay.
And what the cool thing about that is.
Okay. I'm not an Onslaught guy, but I will say this, without having jumped into Destiny at all in any way, shape, or form. A man-operated turret sounds fucking awesome. And I want more of that, because I'm pretty sure Destiny 1 had vehicles and turrets and other things you could operate back in, like, just PvP. I want that back. Whether it's an Onslaught or PvP, I don't care, but I want more vehicle-esque shit. I don't care if people go, oh, this is just like Halo, or oh, this is just like... I want it. It's cool. I like Destiny. I like vehicle shit. So bring it in.
Is that if you have build crafting with fragments or what have you within scorching, that will play off that if you're the rider.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and really scorch everyone.
Everyone.
As much as
Clumps
possible.
of enemies,
Yeah.
those annoying demolitionists that come in front of the ADU and scare the hell out of you.
Yeah, they do. That was my words. Okay, they do scare that.
Yeah.
All right. So in the subject or in the topic of new defenses, so we're bringing back the turret from yesterdecade of Destiny, but also there's some other ones available as well. Can you tell us a little bit about maybe some new defenses that are on the way?
Yes, so the other one that we have is the Airstrike, which will have 3 cannons when you purchase it, or upgrade it. They'll be replenished there. And what that allows you to do is essentially mark anywhere on the ground.
Yeah.
And when an enemy or enemies run over it, a giant beam, it will come down from the sky.
Yeah.
And
So he
obliterate your
just
enemy.
picked it
I'm gonna
back
keep a
up.
little bit of the secret for higher upgrades. I want to
No, that's
reveal
fair.
everything
That's fair.
here, but there's some really nice
Yeah,
upgrades.
Nimbus liked that. We'll just go ahead and put that.
There you go.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And actually, so just to double check as well, with the airstrikes, it's not just you plant it and it fires. It actually has to wait for someone to kind of trigger that.
Waits for someone to come over. Yeah.
Very nice, okay.
Much like the tripwire, which we are also updating. For Onslaught Salvation. We've heard the feedback about the tripwires, and we want to bring their value up a little bit more. So now they're going to be exploding with stasis slow fields.
Yeah.
And on higher upgrades, they'll be creating stasis crystals for you to play off of if you have a stasis build.
Yeah.
Stasis weapon. And then I'm happy to share that those updates will also be available in the original Onslaught as well.
Very nice. Okay, so all the updates that are happening to the defenses that are available in Onslaught Salvation will be available in the traditional Onslaught mode as well.
Just the tripwires, yeah.
Very exciting. Okay, nice. Good to see. While we're on the topic of stasis and obviously looking at our tools for destruction, Chris, I'd be remiss if I didn't try and bring up the new breach loading grenade launcher that our fire team here is getting a lot of use out of. There's obviously
Chad is taking primary ammo. Look at that.
Revenant, but let's start here. This is the new seasonal, or pardon me, episodic exotic.
Yeah, this would be the Season Pass exotic.
Yeah.
It's the Alephanin Stasis primary ammo grenade launcher.
Yeah.
So we've only had one primary ammo grenade launcher before, which is Fighting Lion.
Fighting Lion.
Which is getting a buff this season as well, actually. It'll
that's right, yeah.
Make enemies volatile when it hits them, so like some serious build crafting there, particularly in PvE. But anyway,
I cannot wait.
So this is a bit different in that it's also a projectiles travel in a straight line, so like mountaintop.
Yeah.
Hits pretty hard. But the exotic part of it is that as you defeat enemies, you will gather these remnants, which will fill up the exotic bar, which you can see in the HUD when people aren't dead.
Yeah. The shade.
Yes.
Oh, they're an expert.
No, that's true. Yeah, we should note for the Guardians at home, this is an expert mode, so they're taking the hard way, obviously.
But yeah, so when the bar reaches 50%, you can special reload, and your next shot will launch a special ammo brick for you and your allies to pick up.
Oh, nice, nice. So like a support weapon.
Special reload and launch heavy ammo. So this lets you really go in on a new type of support role.
Hell yeah.
Ammo support, which we haven't really seen in the game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly.
It's pretty interesting to think about it. If you think about the amount of people that are probably going to run this, or at least one person in a fire team for a raid to just generate heavy or special ammo. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
I think
liking what I see so far.
Seeker and Finder mods on my helmet, but it seems like a nice additional way to go ahead and make sure that you're really feeding the fire, feeding the fuel, pardon me, of the heavy ammo.
Get in that turret, baby. I want to see it, man. I want to see it.
So you could have one person in the fire team go all in on ammo generation, and the other folks build something else.
Also, so Clayton, when it comes to the other stuff that's arriving with Onslaught Salvation, are there any new things we're looking forward to? I know that we're obviously fighting the evolved.
There it is. There's a
Scorn.
special
Are there
brick
any
right there.
bosses or anything people can look forward to?
Right. So the Fickrel Scorn are also going to be coming out with what we're calling the Revenant Baron.
Okay.
And that thing is scary, and you'll see it on wave 6 here in a second when the players are instructed to go into like a Revenant nest and go and save the Elixni from being captured.
Yeah.
These Revenant Barons, they stalk the area, and when you kill them, they will create a Revenant totem which flies in a random direction, leaving a trail so you can kind of like stalk it, find it. You have to kill it before it would respawn the Revenant Baron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there's some hide and seek gameplay there. Yeah, and so we also have for the rewards side, starting on wave 30, set 3, players will have a small chance to get a fully masterwork double perked episodic weapon.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, and on expert, like we're playing, if you remember the bonus chest on harder difficulties will show up. So if you're playing on expert, you have 2 chances.
Okay, all right. So really make sure you're pushing through those final levels. Try and hit that ceiling of level 50 so you can really facilitate the loot grind as much as you can.
100%.
Something we mentioned recently in one of our Dev Insight vlogs as well are Banes, which are going to be making an appearance here.
I'm not a huge fan of loot grinding and grinding, particularly Onslaught for shiny weapons or double perking hats. But I don't know. I'm just more of a quest guy, you know. I'm a guy that likes to do quests, challenges, triumphs. So this probably won't rub me up the right way. The only reason I want to do stuff like raids is primarily for the exotic and the red boxes. But yeah.
You're in Onslaught. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. So we'll be with the expert mode only. We'll be having Banes throughout the activity, and we'll also be adding mods. So it's really nice to have them show up because they add another layer of replayability into expert. You don't know if you're going to get the gaseous one where like, you got a dot on you, or if you have to break line of sight, but it adds a fun variability within the gameplay, so every wave feels different.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have, oh, please.
I just wanted to point out here,
please.
you'll notice 2 things. First off, the fire team is tracking that Revenant Baron, just like you said. And also freeing captured Elixni. And as to why people want to keep Elixni captives alive, I'll save that for the players to discover.
Sounds devious.
The other thing is that you'll see Crow chiming in a lot. He's features prominently in the season.
Right,
because he is in
That's a burst fire slug shotgun, by the way.
And so it's his responsibility as the new Hunter Vanguard to rectify his old problem.
Interesting. Even though he can't be like, hey man, that was Ultron, that wasn't me. He's going to step up and take responsibility for that.
Absolutely.
Old Fickrel's fickle out there.
Gonna be big focus on
to
Crow.
that same we're going to be hanging out with Crow, with Ido, and with Mithrax, obviously the main kind of part of the story. They're going to be the ones that we're going to be hanging out with the most, you'd say, or?
There will be some other Elixni, some venerable old school Elixni that poke their heads in that you'll see some drama with. I won't say any more than that.
Fair.
But it will be in everyone's interest to see Fickrel go down here.
Okay, got it. A little bit of enemy, my enemy. In this case, they're all our enemy.
That's right.
Fair enough. Actually, really quickly, Clayton, I know we kind of touched on several different subjects here between the different defenses, different enemies, the different kind of, structural opportunities that Onslaught Salvation has provided you. What was it like, sitting down with a team and sort of looking at this new refresh on this activity? Like, did you guys take any big challenges for yourself where, like, we want to do this?
Yeah, we knew we just wanted to build and evolve and just do more.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
It's a metal episode. We want to do Onslaught. Let's metal it up.
And fuck
right. So things like the turret, things like the Revenant Baron, we really want to play into the themes of this like kind of haunting, spooky episode. And you're seeing that in the roll dart. You're seeing that in the different defenses and the mechanics that we're bringing in as well. Yeah. One thing I forgot to mention too is we are updating the moth yards from the original Onslaught.
Oh, really?
We've heard feedback from there. It's taking a little bit longer. We want to bring our goal is to bring that in line with the rest of the maps of the original Onslaught. So
consolidating
we're
them.
making some updates there to get that to go.
Very exciting. So reasons, obviously, to dive into all versions of Onslaught as we go ahead and move into Revenant.
Chad, imagine a Halloween version of Onslaught.
Actually, and while we're here, out here, slaying out as best as we can against this new undead army, Chris, we're going to have, obviously, a slew of new episodic weapons arriving this time.
Yeah.
I know we've kind of spoken about this breech loading grenade launcher. Are there any other notable ones that you're most interested in, or most excited, rather, I should say, in bringing back?
Yeah, there are a few weapons that I'm going to personally be chasing rolls on. I'm particularly fond of the new double fire stasis grenade launcher. Yes. Only the third double fire in the game, and the other two are energy slot.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to run this in your kinetic slot. It's got the new perk Envious Arsenal, which is like directly targeted at damage rotations. So whenever you do damage with the other two weapons, the weapon reloads.
Yeah.
So you can just cycle between your weapons, get it back. And it also has chill clip, which on a double fire is particularly cool.
That's devious, honestly. Yeah.
There's also some cool synergies with the new perks on some of the other weapons. So the hand cannon can run the new perk Rhyme Stealer, which every time you shatter a stasis crystal or a frozen enemy will grant you frost armor.
Yeah.
Which is the new verb we introduced recently.
Right.
And that can also roll with Headstone, which will generate stasis crystals.
Oh my god.
So it's like self-contained loop there.
Yeah.
Submachine gun is an arc precision, and that's got the new perk. Shoot, what is the name of that?
My memory's failing me.
Anyway, it directly ties back into Jolt, right? Like the Vault Shot is great, but it requires a reload on your weapon after a kill.
Yeah.
This one's triggered on sustained damage, so you'll jolt the target, and then the perk I'm going for in the other column is Loose Change, which every time you apply a debuff gives you a reload speed.
Chad, did y'all just hear that?
So you'll be constantly having.
You blow thy load in.
What they're basically saying is that there's going to be some perks. There's going to be a perk that exists which basically makes any gun a mini Thunderlord. Honestly,
to a target.
Also, so we're going to look at the
and
new
Jolt
artifact here in a little bit. Once we go ahead and move through this
without having to get a kill and reload
right now. But there's also, it's been featured a little bit in some art about Destiny's 10th anniversary, an exotic of yesteryear, we'd say, for all the Guardians who have been sticking around for a while, rather. Icebreaker is returning.
Yeah, Icebreaker is coming back. It's something that we've been holding off on doing just because the ammo economy issues that are introduced in Destiny 1 are pretty dire.
Yeah.
But we've got a version here which we think lets you get back into that fantasy of just like always having uptime on the weapon without letting you just hang back and like plink away at enemies from range, which we never like. So the way it works is assists and final blows with other weapons will just generate ammo for Icebreaker.
Got it.
It's got like a 10-round magazine, which is also the same size as reserves.
Yeah.
So the play is that in between boss damage phases or something, you and your team slay out, and as long as you're getting assists or kills, you'll come back in fully loaded.
Got it. Yeah.
And in Destiny 1, there wasn't actually any ice to break, right? So this time, we actually have a bunch of ice that you can break. I won't go into details, we've got limited time.
Okay, so there's going to be a direct tie into his name and stasis.
Will certainly be giving people a lot of reasons to break the proverbial.
That's pretty dope, considering that they want to make Icebreaker fuck with stasis because it's called Icebreaker, and there wasn't ice in D1. There wasn't stasis in D1. That's dope.
Realized by the sounds of it. No, that's very exciting to check out.
Okay. All right.
Now, while we're still here, let's go ahead and check out the new artifact that's going to be arriving. We love getting a chance to show all of you folks this early, so you can go ahead and start your build crafting. But Chris, I know obviously last time around, if I had to kind of paint it with a meta, I'd say rather it'd be very focused on sniper rifles, solar. If there was a similar theme for this particular artifact, what would it be?
Stasis. Look at that.
Into stasis. Like touches all of the stasis verbs. If you want to make a stasis build, you can amplify it in a bunch of ways. Here, we're also adding a bunch of grenade launcher perks. So we've got overload grenade launchers, which is great. Like taking those like super deadly overload champions. Also bringing back
bring out them with awards
of like everyone's favorite grenade launcher artifact perk, Breach and Clear.
Oh, yes.
So you can weaken enemies, and then when you boost it, you can get the
oh my god.
We were saying earlier, you can boost artifact perks with the...
they actually brought it back. Holy shit.
I admit I'm very selfishly excited to see Anti-Barrier Scout Rifle back. It's been so long.
Anti-Barrier.
I've missed it.
Barrier Scout is great.
I'm going to pretend like that's just for me, for my own benefit today.
We're trying something a bit different with this artifact as well, in that... So the first column is all anti-champion mods, and the final column is all of the pinnacle ones, like the capstones for your artifact build.
Right, yeah.
But columns 2, 3, and 4 are roughly equivalent in power, which will let you mix and match them more freely instead of feeling like you have to like go for the top tier ones. They're all usable in builds.
It's less of a linear escalation, more just a mix and match in a lot of ways. Very exciting. Okay, so there'll be plenty of opportunities for players to go ahead and amplify their builds.
The same damage power grenade launcher causes the combatant.
If again, you're like me and want to run double, for players to go ahead and amplify their.
Sustained damage with a power grenade launcher causes the combatant to emit a shockwave that damages nearby combatants. And then you have
Same
Azzacross.
with power grenade launcher causes the combatants.
Again, you're like me and want to
Wow.
run launchers. This feels like a
Fucking hell, bro.
remarkably great season to be doing that, especially with the Fighting Lion buff. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Whoa, what was the last two?
But I believe that actually wraps us up for this particular segment of Onslaught. But there's also a couple more things that I wanted to go ahead and tease for the arrival of Act 1. For starters, an old favorite strike is going to be making its return. The inverted spire is returning. But Clayton, it's not coming back exactly as people remember it, is it?
Nope, we're taking an approach and adjusting all the encounters, and you'll see more
Love that
effects
strike,
than
man.
what you're used
But
to.
it's gonna have to be potent.
My compatriot on the social media team, Mitch, showed me through it a little bit.
Inverted
The
spire.
only thing I'll spoil is if you like death lasers, you're gonna have a great time out there. And then in addition to that, there's one more thing we wanted to add in, arriving with Act 2.
Wait, what was that one again?
The only thing I'll spoil is if you like. My compatriot on the social media team, Mitch, showed me through it a little bit.
Inverted
The
spire.
only thing I'll spoil is if you like death lasers, you're gonna have a great time out there. And then in addition to that, there's one more thing we wanted to add in, arriving with Act 2. Mind you, of Revenant, and I'm going to read this to make sure I get it right. A inspired from a fan favorite activity from Destiny's past. We're going to go ahead and bring back an activity, but we're not going to tell you anything outside of that. So chat, speculate, let us know what you think. Go ahead and shout us out on Twitter or wherever it is you like to hang out online. With that,
Act 2 would be during Christmas, everybody.
But in the meantime, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and share a little bit.
All right, what are they? What's inverted spire? Oh, is it one with the big fuck off drills, isn't it?
Of what's arriving with Revenant. We appreciate your time so much today.
It's SRL. It's going to be SRL.
It's not going to be
Thank
SRL.
you guys for stepping up here and helping out. I appreciate it. Now, as we transition into our next stage, we've got what we've called in my notes the cool stuff segment, and I think it lives up to that. So we'll go ahead and
Dude,
show
it's
you a little
definitely
bit
going to be
more of what's
SRL.
gonna
Look
be
at the new
arriving
scammers.
with Revenant, including what you're seeing here on your screen right now. This is the second earnable skimmer that's going to be arriving in Destiny 2. The aptly named, we'll wait for it to highlight, the Zerfboard.
Oh my god!
As you can see, it features some very unique 9-style styling.
So clean,
inspired by
man.
Zerg
So
himself.
clean.
Both
Holy
top
shit.
and bottom are very arted up. The top's obviously a little bit more visible here, but if you do a sweet front flip or back flip, if you're capable of it, you can go ahead and see all sides of it. Notably, this is going to be earnable. So if you go ahead and start saving up those strange coins now, it's going to cost you 97 of them. So if you're like me and spend your weekends
that's nothing.
spending
That's
all those
literally
extra
nothing.
strange coins at Zerg,
Everyone will have
rolls
it.
on your exotic class item. Maybe save up for a week or two. Also, because I work here, I've started saving up already. Spoiler alert! But the
Oh my God,
Zerg board will be
that's-
available
that is
with
so
the arrival
free.
of Revenant. So make sure and go ahead and grab the first earnable skimmer since the Guardian Games. In addition to that, we obviously have mentioned very recently that we're going to be having a new dungeon arriving with Revenant, and as a part of this, we're going to be doing a dungeon race in cooperation with our friends over at Twitch Rivals. We've put the sign-up link out there. It's available on our social media channels or in the TWID, or if you prefer your URL's phonetic, it's bung.ie/Twitch Rivals. You can go ahead and head out there, sign up with your fire team, and make sure that you're ready to go ahead and take on this new challenge, which will again also
Mods, give me
provide
that
some
link,
additional
please.
chances
I
for
forgot to
Bungie
sign up.
rewards. You can see here on the screen, we've got a look at the hoodie that will be earnable along with the bracelet. But perhaps what's most interesting about the hoodie is
Actually,
that
that's
as a
good.
part of the dungeon race, if you're one of the top 3 teams to go ahead and cross that proverbial finish line, then we'll be able to ship out a special embroidered version with your gamer tag on it as well. So make sure and go ahead and dive on in and prepare
Actually looks
to
good.
try and
Yeah.
cross that finish line first. And now we're also going to take one quick look. Festival of the Lost is going to be arriving with Act 1 of Revenant as well. And if you all remember, you took a chance to vote on some armor sets for yourselves. So Hunters up first. You can see here we've got the Evil Wizard set. I myself am very looking
Dude,
forward to
that
adding
may
this
be
to my
the
collection.
best looking set of
The
armor
Evil
ever.
Gothic set is just going to only dial up more and more. Up next, our friendly neighborhood Warlocks. You've got this to look forward to.
God,
including
they
what I
look
think,
good.
we affectionately refer to as probably the coolest pants we've all ever seen over here at Bungie. And breaking out from the crowd.
And then this fucking shit. I don't care what anyone says. Y'all fumbled. As a Titan main, y'all fucking fumbled here. Disappointed, bro.
The good Wizards this time around. Titans, you went ahead and voted for it this way. You're gonna have the chance to go ahead and add this into your arsenal as well.
What
so,
the hell, guys? Why did we vote on this?
Exactly.
And grab this stuff once it's available. And
Fucking idiots,
so maybe I'm just
bro.
projecting. But either way, make sure and get ready to go ahead and update your fashion.
Who voted on that?
Yeah, who the fuck voted on
Now,
that shit? I agree.
We get to move on to our second segment of the show, where we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what's further on down the road. So we've talked about what's just around the corner. Let's look forward to Frontiers. And here to help me discuss those topics today, that topic today as well, rather, are these two fine individuals to my left, which you've met at some point or another. But again, we'll make sure and introduce them to everyone out there.
Welcome to the U.S. voting system. Bro, the amount of people that I've actually seen in comments defending the good Titans. We're not edgy like you. Shut the fuck up, you crayon-eating bitch. God damn, the people that voted good Titan, bro. Disappointed.
In the crowd. We'll start with you first, Allison. Allison, how's it going?
It's going so good. I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
We're up so early. I'm doing well, thank you so much.
Good.
Allison, obviously narrative director here on Destiny at Bungie. Can you tell anyone who may not have seen you in a Vidoc or one of our past streams a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Sure. So I'm the narrative director for D2. It is me and my team's job to talk.
Trustport. The Empire's
Tell stories. It's our job to take care of our characters, of our arcs. We make you laugh, we make you cry, we make you have feelings that you normally don't have to have in your usual day-to-day life.
I was raised not to feel feelings, so it's a very exciting experience when I do.
Feelings are distressing.
Oh,
Is she from Baldur's Gate 3? Yeah.
I would have voted more than once if I could have. Honestly, I should have.
Yeah,
So
she's
get
from
to
BG3.
plan, future things, planning ahead for the arcs to come.
Yes.
And the
that's what
saga
we're
to
talking
come.
about. I know, the whole new saga. We'll have a little bit to dive into as well today. I know, I'm so excited. And then also sitting next to her, Robbie Stevens, assistant game director here at Bungie, a man that I've not had a chance to interview since back in my Mixer days. But if you've tuned into these Bungie streams in the past, you've
Mixer
seen him as well.
days,
Robbie, how are you
bro.
doing?
I'm doing great, Andy.
Remember
I think
Mixer?
you've grown a lot since those days.
Thank you. It's been so long. My badge changed and everything. For the folks that may not know you or may not know what a game director does, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so one of the main things I do as assistant game director for Destiny 2 is I work on the creative direction and vision for where we're going with Destiny coming up in the future with Codename Frontiers. So I get to work with our game director, Tyson Green, and Allison Lurs, our narrative director, and a bunch of our other creative leaders on how we shape the future of Destiny to come.
Very exciting, which we are going to be diving into now. I know we've obviously released some blogs about the Codename Frontier stuff already.
Cook, baby.
You've been out on Bungie.net reading the Dev Insight blogs. There's been a good amount to dive into, but our friends over on the community team as well have been helping us kind of, read more into what the audience feedback has been and what the players are saying. And so we've had obviously some topics come up that I think we should just go ahead and dive on into.
Let's party.
Absolutely. Okay, that's the right attitude. Let's party at this early in the morning.
Hell yeah.
Always the answer I want to hear. So Robbie, we'll go ahead and start with you. One of the things we said is that
so fucking cringe.
These expansions are going to be medium-sized. Can you help us understand a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, definitely. So expansions are changing going forward with Codename Frontiers. And so our philosophy behind this is moving from one really big, all-consuming tentpole moment that kind of takes all the oxygen in the room at one point in the year to two what we consider big tentpole moments happening in each year. And so those tentpole moments coming twice a year now are going to bring with them fresh content and new stories that are going to move the world of Destiny forward. And to answer your question directly, the way we're kind of looking at the size of these is similar to like Rise of Iron from Destiny 1. But this is happening like twice a year as compared to the past.
Yeah.
And so,
Rise of Iron was good.
What's kind of
I
the
agree.
reason we're talking about this, the rough shape of the box here that we're filling is that what comes with it is like each expansion is going to have its own unique version of a campaign and post-game experience.
Which is good, because I want more campaign shit, and I love cutscenes. The cutscenes are so... The cutscenes... And I know the studio is like closed down or something, but the cutscenes in fucking the final shape were just... perfect.
that you can dive really deep into beyond the initial playthrough, similar to how things like the Dreaming City or the Pale Heart from the Final Shape had worked, where those beyond those initial campaign experiences, there's like further things to explore and secrets to uncover.
Cool.
And so making our expansions unique and deeply replayable is a big goal for us, in large part to support all the new gear and the new tiering of gear that we're putting into the game, right? And so it's one about, so like, you know, each of these expansions, again, they're going to tell a really compelling story as part of our next saga, but I really want to stress that they're also going to be unique experiences, unique campaigns and post games.
Yeah, I know that's something like, you know, I've kind of overheard some of the conversations where when it comes to these expansions as well, you know, obviously the corollary we're using today is Rise of Iron, but like these are going to be brand new experiences, things that we just like haven't released before in the past.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that as well? Or
Yeah, definitely. And so for Codename Apollo specifically, the first expansion coming up with Frontiers, you're going to journey to a Metroidvania-inspired destination, right? That's our guiding light for how we're creating this new location. And so this new destination is going to feature a non-linear campaign that puts you know, in the driver's seat of exploring its world and its story. So this is very different from the past, where you're kind of following a very linear mission structure or line. That's that very
343 tried to do that, and it sucked. I don't know, man. I don't know. We're an hour in though, so I'm gonna take a quick breather, stand up, walk around, stretch my legs. You should do the same. We'll run another pre-rolled ad section again. If you want to pop away, feel free to. You don't have to keep the tab open, but I would appreciate it. We're gonna wait for the people until everyone's back and ready, and keep going. So I'm gonna not switch it to break. I'm just gonna. Don't tell me what to do. You do what you like. I'm just gonna pre-roll an ad so you guys don't get them every time you join. I've been told that's a good thing to do. Why won't it let me run another one? Has it not been a full 60 minutes yet? Let me see. Oh no, I can run it. Right. See you in about 3 minutes or so. Alright. I'm off, Shadow. Have a good night. No worries, dude. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you in stream. Sweet dreams, man. Or have a good day. Catch you around, bro. Right, we're back. Let's keep going.
Very simple in many ways. And Allison actually recently talked a bunch about this in a blog post.
Yeah. So when we made the decision to lean into that Metroidvania structure, we knew that the narrative structure had to match, like had to complement that structure as well. And so the way that we're going to treat nonlinearity in Codename Apollo is when you arrive at our destination, which is a new destination, you'll be able to decide if you want to go to region D or region C, or maybe you want to go check out B, because that's going to be where you get the ability that allows you to access region A so you can talk to that character that you really like. We really want that sense of the player being in the driver's seat, of being able to decide where and how they want to explore and discover the secrets that we have in the world. And whichever of those different choices that you make doesn't negate the others. We want you to explore every crevice inside of the experience. And to help support that, we've structured our story in a complementary way. So we'll have the normal kinds of like activity dialogue that you normally experience in a campaign, but there's also between 25 and 30 different threads of stories that you can discover and chain together after you complete an activity. There's so much richness to discover that we're creating.
You see that little thread of that shining rock somewhere, you can really just afford to pull on it and just dive in.
Absolutely, that's what we want you to do.
Okay,
So no
that's awesome.
hand-
So actually, let's go ahead and
hand-holding.
stay on the topic of story here for just a second as
Sure.
well. You know, I think that there.
As long as it doesn't involve us being like, collect a sample, talk to failsafe, go to this thing, talk to failsafe, go to the helm, go to Ikora.
There's been some conversations about the future of narrative destiny, which has obviously been so central to the experience, so core to our characters and our stories. There's been some concern that maybe the new structure might not afford the opportunity for as much story in the past. Can you tell us a little bit about what you guys are planning and what that means?
That would be news to me if it suddenly vanished. I like what
Allison,
I do.
please stay.
Please don't let exactly.
Is this how we find out?
No, story is destiny. Like what makes destiny destiny is that beating heart of story at its core. That's not going anywhere. The thing that this new structure allows us comes in two parts for story. Like part one is pacing. With these 2 tentpole beats a year, the feeling that the world is changing and growing and moving is going to come much quicker now, which means that we can move the plot along at a much quicker pace than we used to. Part two is focus. Because these are much more focused releases, we don't have to worry about padding the sides with a bunch of extra stuff to kind of fill in the space. Like, nope, we are zeroing in on exactly what each of these releases is trying to communicate. And so that means we're going to tell a more focused story and with pacing that keeps up with what fans want.
I mean, it's also, too, it's interesting because, you know, obviously the narrative is one big part, the story you're telling, the words on the page, but another part of it, you know, given that we have the unique...
Time to get up, say hi to the sun. My shift is over, and yours has begun.
Opportunity with a medium like video games is how players interact with it. We've seen some comments online, some notable conversations about, you know, go talk to vendor X, head over to the holodeck and say hello to this other person, go back to vendor X and shake their hand one more time.
Andy's calling it
can you tell us
out.
a little bit about that structure, what you guys are planning on?
Yeah, it drives us bonkers too. No, we believe that everything should be questioned, right? Like we should be questioning that structure and we should be reinvestigating it. And starting with Revenant and especially when we get to Apollo, we're going to be deliberately shaking it up. By the time we get to Apollo, that loop, that pattern is more or less gone. We're shaking things up a lot.
I love how I talk about it and then they address it, which is good.
I mean, Allison spoke to it earlier, but all those threads that you're pulling on, right? Like these are characters out in the world that you're exploring and discovering, right, as part of your journey here. And so it's not you going to the same location where you expect to see someone delivering a piece of information to you between, you know, specific missions. It is like you exploring the world, finding these people, pulling on all these different threads in order to discover things within this weird and wonderful place.
The feedback is loud and clear. We want to keep the player out in the world, out and exploring, and get information to them for a change.
I like that.
And also,
I'm willing to give it a go,
Allison, you
man.
didn't arrive empty-handed. You've got some cool concept art to share with us as well.
I got some goodies.
Okay.
I brought some presents.
Thank
I
you.
brought some birthday presents. Happy birthday.
Yeah,
It's
happy
your
birthday, everyone who was born on
Looking at
October 1st.
concept art is always a joy.
Exactly.
It's a good way to go about it. It's better than wrapping paper covering a PlayStation. I don't
It's
know.
true.
Let's go ahead and take a look. So this is, we've got up on screen kind of one of our first pieces of concept art from the future. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here?
No, I can't. On purpose. What I can tell you is that this is some concept art of our new destination, which, like I said, is a new place that we haven't been to before, which means that these people that you're seeing are people that we haven't met yet. We're going to learn a lot more about them.
Ooh. Take this bitch out of emo mode. Who the f put in emo?
Bruh. A new civilization? Cool. Say, can we actually meet this civilization, please? Because one thing that personally pissed me the fuck off, of all the many things that pissed people the fuck off with Neomuna, is we didn't get to meet the Neomuni people. They didn't want to fucking render in characters, so they made these little holograph fucking bullshit ass shit, and we're like, they're all in fucking virtual reality. Oh. You know? I don't like that. The city feels so fucking empty in Neomuna. You got Nimbus and the enemies, and that's it. You know? Empty. So, do we actually get to meet these said things? That'd be awesome. Please and thank you.
That we've shared so far, the more you start to see things that are kind of familiar all the way out at this new location.
Yeah, it's like
so lots of fun things to discover.
What's the symbol on that banner? Is this a seance or a wedding ceremony? Who knows?
I know,
right?
and I'm not telling.
Telling a single soul.
Nope.
Okay, all right. Plenty to dive into, including we've got another piece of concept art here as well.
Yeah, something we talk about a lot, and like I think the last concept really like spoke to it is like especially when we're developing a new destination like this, like we really think about like what is a storied history that's happened here. What's something that players can like really sink their teeth into and dig deep into. And you know, going into this concept, something that I love about it that's really resonant with me with a lot of the early creative discussions we had on it is that we wanted this place to feel like an exotic world that is just tailor-built around the joy of discovery, right? And then so within this new destination in Apollo, you're going to be discovering powerful abilities in order to uncover secrets in this location and in order to carve a path to the great mystery at the heart of the planet. And that's what like these concepts, you know, when I look at them in retrospective as the team is now actively like building a bunch of this stuff, it's very evocative for me from that feeling of like, hey, how can...
Yeah, is it going to be like Deep Sight, or is it going to be new stuff in our classes? New, like maybe tools. Maybe we'll be able to have like a scanner or some shit. I'm down for shit like that. And some people might not be, but I'd be down for some kind of tools and things we can use other than just weapons.
It's something Tyson and Alice and I talk a lot about is like, how can we get that like grand mystery in that game, that feeling that there's something right around the corner, that like it's kind of at the heart, has been at the heart of Destiny for a long time. And as we've been closing down the Light Dark saga, it's been an amazing roller coaster ride, but we want to expand and grow Destiny and we want to change it. And you know, that's what I think these concepts are starting to speak for us, trying to show not just us telling of like some of that direction.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see because I think one thing I've heard you guys talk about a lot as well is, you know, just the inspirations that you want to obviously provide the players. You build these new worlds, but you guys have been diving into a lot of crazy subject matter just on your own to get inspired as well. Can you tell us a little bit about kind of some of the fun reading or listening you've been doing as you've been going through this?
Sure. One of the fun parts about being a creative is that you have to fill the tank with something. And
certainly.
So that means doing a lot of research, finding a lot of other targets in media, or even just like what music you're listening to while you're working on a script, right? I know for our team, something that really inspired us was music of the 1960s. We've listened to a lot of early prog, a lot of King Crimson, and a lot of, oh gosh, The Doors and Jefferson Airplane. We also, there's a lot of Slaughterhouse-Five inside of this.
Cheery.
We love to look for inspiration outside of just games because there's so much in the world that can fill that tank and get us inspired for what's coming next. And we also look to television, of course, too.
Yeah. I mean, TV and movies is like to talk about all the line. I mean, Allison as the narrative director, much better at referencing text. I'm a little bit more of a visual guy.
Is that the nice way to say that? 'Cause,
Yeah,
it's kind. Okay,
it's
cool. All right,
kind.
thank you.
Social media and TikTok have rotted us all.
They've just rotted me. Actually.
Yeah. But yeah, like when we talk about like all this inspirational media, like one of the things, Destiny also being a sci-fi game that we talked a bunch about was for Apollo was Scavenger's Reign. That's something that Allison, remember an early concept and we were talking about, and we're like, oh wow, that media, that TV show is so great because like it's familiar in some ways, but as you get closer and you really look at their world, it's really strange and different and weird and mysterious, and it really kind of just builds this halo of allure around it that is something that really spoke to us when we're thinking about like how can we introduce something new to the game at the top of Frontiers.
That's exciting. All right, so there's obviously a lot of new inspirations. We had a chance to look at some concept art, but Allison, I got to put you on the spot just one last time. Do you have any other teasers for us or anything you can give us before we move on to the next subject?
I got a weird one.
Okay, even better.
Okay. So imagine going to a mansion, like a really nice, really big fancy house.
Okay,
and
not just in the tutorial to Tomb Raider.
No, like
Okay, all
like a nice.
Okay,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you. Yeah,
So you're going in and looking at like a parlor room or something, and maybe the owner of the house tells you there's a secret door somewhere in here, and you're looking around and you can see the door that you came through and you can see the window, but it kind of looks like a dead end, like there's nothing in here. And everyone knows that a good secret door comes from like behind a bookcase. Like you go up to a bookcase and pull on a book or a little statue that's been in front of your face the whole time, but you just haven't had the focus on it yet. And if you pull on that, it opens up the secret door, and suddenly what was a dead end looks like an entryway.
Yeah.
And that's what this saga is.
Okay, that's very exciting. And it won't be like Young Frankenstein where I get stuck in the door. Or
You will
anything.
not get stuck in the door. No, I will not let anyone get
Not
stuck
even for
inside the
comedic
door.
Or Matthew McConaughey behind the bookcase.
Interesting.
Okay, all right. Thank you again, Allison, so much. There's
Absolutely.
obviously a lot of cool stuff to dive into, but we'll let you and yours keep crafting. But we've got also one more subject as well. Robbie, I'd love to bug you about one more thing, if
Please.
that's all right.
Yeah.
So we've seen some feedback on reward tiers and how there might not be enough variation in loot for players to go ahead and get encouraged to go ahead and keep chasing down more gear. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you're all building right now and kind of what that means to you?
Yeah, so this is like very valid feedback, just acknowledging that in the first place, because the first thing we announced was just like, hey, there's some new tiers, right? And then obviously, you're going to look at that and go like, well, I have a bunch of amazing armor and weapons now, so like, why does this matter in the future? And so totally, that feedback makes a lot of sense to us. And so what's really top of mind and has been for us for a little while now is how we can make not only chasing gear within individual tiers interesting and the whole system interesting, but also how we can make those higher tiers of gear compelling to chase, right? To have that mountain to climb. And so that comes in two forms that I can talk a little bit about today. One, I can go a little more in depth on, which is our next generation armor. That's going to be coming with Codename Frontiers. And then we have some really early thinking for weapons. Okay. And so for armor, let's start there. Is that okay, Andy?
That's perfect. If you wouldn't mind, Robbie.
Yeah, I would. Okay. So let me lean in here to focus a little bit. So for next generation armor, we really want to make armor valuable again. We want to make it easier to understand, and we really want it to have create new build crafting identities. That's something that's like really close to home for us right now because we've had a similar system for quite a while now. And so part of making it valuable, easy to understand, new identities is one of the big pieces is going to be a large stat rework to the armor pieces themselves. And so there's going to be fewer stats on each individual piece of armor. So it makes it way easier to quickly compare pieces of gear and be like, oh, this one's better than that one. I'm building into a specific, discipline, strength, whatever, and you can better understand that. That also means that there's going to be fewer things we call dump stats. Like you looking at a piece of gear and going like, oh man, it only gives me +5 resilience. I don't really want that.
Trash it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, there's still going to be cases where it's like, oh, it has a lot of resilience, but that's not what I'm building into. But it's just going to be way easier to just glance at stuff.
Very cool.
And figure it out. But beyond that, right, like how can we answer that question of how can next-gen armor have this new build crafting identity? It also, we want to bring new things to the table, right? And so part of the stat rework, we're going to go beyond 100, Andy.
We go beyond
Beyond
sometimes.
100?
Yeah. We've gone beyond light.
That's right.
Yep. Beyond dark. With Prismatic.
What
this
else
just makes
is there?
sense. Yeah.
Now we're going to go beyond 100 with armor. Who knew? Like, who knew that's where we go?
It was just hidden in the lore book somewhere, I'm sure, right, Allison?
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Right? Okay. All right. Thank you. No one double check that.
Yeah,
don't
check our homework. So when we go, so what I mean by going beyond 100, so let's talk about strength, for instance. And so this is some early thinking from the team. So in the 1 to 100 range, it would still reduce your melee cooldown like it does today. It would still have that, so that would still be really easy to understand. But then from that 101 to 200 range, beyond 100,
my God.
every point into strength at that point would then give you a chance in order to activate a second melee when power melee becomes charged. So basically, you get double melee. You get to double throw your shields, or double throw your knives, or throw whatever warlock, space magic stuff they throw in. I don't play warlocks.
I'm a hunter.
Yeah,
I get
so,
it. Yeah.
I can't jump. Sorry.
Withering blades. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
Dude, that's
but
crazy.
Really, like, the key thing to there, right, is like that starts to create an identity for what you want to build craft into. That's very different than just like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm building in a melee, lower cooldown. That's cool. But now you can start build crafting into like, okay, I'm going to regularly, especially at the higher end, start to get double melee charges, right? And so the other thing we're considering right now is also renaming that stat from strength to melee, so that it's just very specific when you look at the gear and kind of like know what it's
cut right to that chase, right?
Yeah. Another big thing that's coming with next generation armor to the game is set bonuses. And so this is something, I know, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like they're back. So,
Oh
we've
my
done like
God.
some small versions of it in the past, have been like individual releases, but we're looking at this as like a holistic new system that's coming with pretty much every piece of new legendary armor set
It's
that we
finally
create, starting with
happening.
Frontiers.
Okay.
And so these set bonuses are going to come in the form of wearing 2 or 4 pieces of a 5-piece set. So that gives you flexibility in order to wear an exotic at any point, and then also allows you to mix and match different sets. So you can actually start looking at like gear and go like, oh, I have tier 1, tier 2 of one set, tier 3 of other, and I actually want to like mix match them together for different combinatorics for different build crafting.
I'm still very skeptical, as you can probably tell, on the armor and weapon changes. The idea of an extra melee or an extra barricade sounds alright to me. For some reason, as a Titan, I want to spec into more barricades. Being able to put down 2 sounds cool to me, anyway. Especially if you have like a Capri Horn or the Abyssin Leap or whatever the fuck it's called, where you shoot at 3. If I can have 2 barricades, I could shoot basically 6 waves of Strand or 2 Capri's Horns. You know what I mean? Like, the idea of doing that type of thing. 2 thrusters. Having the fucking... Again, I haven't played them enough to know them off by heart, but you know the rocket chest that Titans have. Being able to thrust twice. Boom, rockets. Boom, rockets. To me, that sounds cool. That's what I'd spec into. Not just melees or grenades, like some.
Identities.
But what's the bet? There would be people out there that gatekeep that shit and will want you to spec into something specific if you want to run a raid with them. That's just my assumption, anyway.
Like really deep into the weeds here, but the thing that's like really exciting about this is that like one of the perks the team is playing around with that these new set bonuses could give you could be one that's built all around like Tex Mechanica style play, which is like all about hip firing, right, and all about that yeehaw. And then like the more you build into that, you're going to be buffing your Tex Mechanica weapons. And so that's just like one example. But yeah, it's the whole space is just going to like really expand and just become a lot easier to manage in your head and also build complexity into. And so I'm super stoked.
No, you guys obviously have been doing a lot of great stuff.
Armor set bonuses, we've been asking for them forever now.
All that sounds awesome, but can you tell us a little bit more about weapons and kind of, you know, how they're...
The armor set bonus thing does sound cool in a way because I joined Destiny around like the fall off point of Gambit. When I started playing Gambit, there was that armor, right, that would give you bonuses. I want them to bring that shit back. If there's armor that you can wear in specific activities that give you bonuses, that sounds cool. Which is why I wish they'd make raid armor more potent, because at the moment, for me anyway, raid armor is just a waste of vault space. I've still got it, but it's a waste of vault space, you know?
They're going to evolve as well.
Yeah, so we're a little earlier on weapons right now.
Okay.
We wanted to talk about next gen armor because we have a lot of juicy, good plans coming together right now. But for weapons, the thing I can say is that like in the game today, we have higher tiers of weapons to chase, like adepts and raid weapons, right? And so those things with them come with exclusive perks that basically, cut above the noise of other weapons you might be earning in any individual release. And so we know from the gear.
Which in my opinion is bullshit because I've never once been like, bro, I want that adept weapon from a Nightfall, or I want that adept raid weapon. I've never once said that. So for me personally, unless I'm just dumb, which I probably am, I feel like those weapons are getting snuffed by crafting as much as I love crafting. I don't look at an adept and go, oh shit, I'm going to use this over everything else. Nah. Especially since I got rid of like Taken Spec and shit. The only reason I wanted adepts back in the day was for Taken Spec and some other ones like Major Spec and all that. But now that they've like removed that shit, it's like, why?
Here, the tiering perspective of weapons themselves, that like, hey, we already have this kind of touchstone for us that we see that works pretty well. And it's like, so it's really like, how can we meet or clear that bar, right? Like, how can we create those exclusive chases at the top of that aspirational mountain for players to climb? So, yeah.
So actually, additionally, too, we've heard some concerns that, obviously we're going to maybe be over-indexing on just bringing back reprised weapons. And Guardians will just be out there chasing down something and re-earning something that's just sitting in the vault anyway. Can you tell us a little bit more about like kind of the weapon chase and what you guys are planning on doing with each, subsequent release?
Yeah, so just to like make sure, to clear the air here a little bit, right? Like every expansion, every season, every raid, every dungeon, there's gonna be new weapons, right? We're not slowing down there in terms of like making a lot of compelling new weapon content.
Cool. Okay.
But the thing about reprisals and revisions that I think is true for a lot of Destiny players is like you have that favorite gun, right? You have that gun that you loved at one point in time, and over time it's just not as useful in the contemporary tuning, activity, sandbox, whatever, right? Like just something about it isn't as good over the years. And so like we did with the Brave Arsenal and Into the Light, like that's our touchstone for like, hey, how can we go in and update, fan favorite weapons, bring them back, breathe some new life into them, and make them interesting to use again. And I also think
I'm a simple dude, honestly. Sorry to keep pausing. I'm a simple dude. I might have a lot of disagreement in this, but if they literally just copy-pasted, I know some of it wouldn't work with the sandbox, but if they literally copy-pasted all the shit that you can get in D1 into D2 and just made Destiny, I'd be fine with that. I'm one of the people, personally, hear me out here, that just wants to combine it all together and just make it Destiny. I don't want no Destiny 2 anymore. I don't want no fucking Destiny 3. I just want Destiny, everything in it. They can cycle it out, they can vault, they can whatever. I just want it all in one game. So if you bring back like the exotic swords for specific classes, and a bunch of other cool shit, I'm personally one of those people that are happy, but that's also coming from the same guy that would happily just get a reskin, update reskin graphic of like fucking Halo 3 ODST or Halo 3. So, yeah, I'm a simple man. Simple man.
Right about that is that people who never got to use, their Recluse or Better Devils or something that we haven't reprised just yet, right? Is like, oh, that's their first time experience with it, and they've heard how cool it is.
To all the Guardians who are going to dive into Revenant and get to try Chroma Rush for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
I am trying that gun for the first time. It's so good. I'm glad it's coming back.
It's great.
Okay, that all sounds awesome. So everything that Robbie
Andy,
just
keep
spoke
talking.
to,
What else is
there's
coming?
going to be a next-gen article, a next-gen armor article going up on Bungie.net.
He said the thing.
Right after.
But Robbie, is there anything else you want to say?
Yeah, so something that I should probably touch on is like we're talking a lot about like all this cool gear and like, but like there's a question here, right? That like that immediately becomes posed of like why does it matter, right? Like why do I care about it? And so we've talked a little bit, right, about the fact that there's going to be customizable difficulty coming in Destiny with Frontiers, and then also changes to modifiers and things like that with like the Banes that we announced in the recent blog post. And so to making expansions deeply replayable, kind of like I was talking about earlier in our section, and then the customizable difficulty, and then the new modifier systems. Like these are all things that are being built into a structure so that you're going to need to chase that high tier gear. You're going to need to craft that complex set bonus, perfect combination of Tex Mechanica gear in order to take on some of the hardest challenges inside of the game. And so this isn't just about changing gear. This is also figuring out how we can bring new and interesting challenge to Destiny and how we can really like breathe life into the challenge of the game.
So exciting. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Well, plenty more information on that to arrive on the blog that's going to be arriving on Bungie.net shortly after this. But I don't think I'm going to be able to top what Robbie just said. So we'll go ahead and get ready to go ahead and close out the stream here today by first thanking all of you fine folks at home for joining us today. We love getting a chance to put these streams on and hang out with all of you in the community, and it doesn't mean anything unless you show up. So thank you for taking the time.
Right. So that's that one done. Shout out to Azzacross, by the way, if I haven't said it already. Go subscribe to him if you can. He's a gent, for sure. He's a gent, for sure. Alright. Yeah. Alright.
Another week, boys, and another 12. This weekend.
Right.
Got to play with new exotics before
Shout out to Dado, of course. We're gonna watch a Dado video now.
for you, Nana Nana Boo Boo, where today I got to play with some episode 2 exotics, and you didn't. Not yet, anyway. Next week. I want to preface this video by saying that you will see some new episode 2 gameplay stuff, but there will be no story spoilers in this video at all, and as always with early footage, everything here is subject to change upon release. Exotics. Every new exotic for each class, one of each, is stasis themed. Now, you remember when people thought that Bungie was going to have an artifact that really focused on stasis because it had been forever since that happened, and then they, like, didn't? Well, episode 2 is actually the stasis artifact that you have been waiting for, and they are bringing 3 stasis exotics and a weapon as well, although, as we'll discuss, it's not exactly super stasis themed. First, let's talk about exotic armor and warlocks. We're going to start with you. Warlocks, I would argue that you probably didn't even really need this exotic, but you still got it anyway. And I say that because this exotic is based on Bleak Watcher. Now, you're probably aware that Bleak Watcher Warlock is probably the best overall build in the game. Not to mention that it is probably one of the easiest builds in the game to execute. Well, Warlocks, introducing Rime Coat Raiment, where your Bleak Watcher turret is enhanced with more range, and it's surrounded by a stasis crystal storm. If you stand in it, you get icicles, which deploy and slow targets when you shoot at them.
Okay.
These robes are as good as they seem, but
Bro, look how janky it is.
obviously the big comparison is against Getaway Artist. Getaway Artist is the main exotic that's paired up with Bleak Watcher Prismatic Warlock. It allows you to have an Arc Soul with you in addition to deploying the Bleak Watcher turret at the same time. So you would need to give up Arc Soul for a higher quality Bleak Watcher turret and the ability to slow enemy targets if you stay in the radius of the turret. There's also the Claw of Ahamkara and or Necro Claw variant of that Bleak Watcher setup, which focuses more on the melee side of things. But for now, let's just keep the comparison against Getaway Artist. To me, this trade-off is more than acceptable, but only if you're willing to actually play around your turret. Otherwise, you just have a slightly better turret, which might still be worth it on its own depending on how you play or maybe what activity you're in. To me, I would want the benefit of both parts of this new exotic, so maybe I'm looking for activities where I can hunker down a bit more, your onslaughts, maybe select raid encounters, coil type activities, anything where you're more stationary for any particular fight that you might find yourself in. Fortunately, or unfortunately, depending on how you want to look at it, this exotic, at least in the limited time that I got to actually test it out, doesn't really change up how you will experience the Bleak Watcher Prismatic setup. It's still about getting Devour and just dropping a turret. It's just a different flavor of doing it. Unfortunately, there's not a ton in Prismatic that revolves around slowing effects or stuff like that, so the main value in getting Icicles is to kind of use them like you have Chill Clip on your weapon. Chill Clip obviously is very good effect, great for stunning champions and all that, but the turret itself does that pretty well over a longer period of time already. It's good for something a little more instantaneous, though, something that you can control and that you want on demand right now. The only other stasis-specific competition is Osmiomancy, and don't tell me you're using Ballados out here, okay? But I think Osmiomancy lends itself to actually using Cold Snap grenades like Cold Snap grenades, not turning them into turrets, although a lot of people do that all the same, which is fine. But now I think Osmiomancy can probably be a bit more about Cold Snap grenades and using Cold Snap grenades, where Rhymecoat can actually be the Bleak Watcher exotic now instead of Osmiomancy trying to like juggle both. Next, we're going to move to Titan, who have a bit more...
Yeah, but in my personal opinion, who the fuck is gonna use a cold snap grenade over a Bleak Watcher turret?
of an interesting exotic, Blast Wave Striders. Essentially, you charge this armor with kills, and then when it's charged, you can slide or deal explosive self-damage to rocket jump backwards and launch a bunch of stasis everywhere, and also deal a bunch of damage. And you get frost armor from it, and you get damage resistance to your own explosives. So, first off, these do take a little while to charge. It's not like 2 or 3 kills and you're good to go. It's more like 10, something like that. But as the exotic says, when your meter is full, you just do a little slide, you're going to fly backwards, and boom, bunch of damage, bunch of stasis crystals everywhere, and then you just do it all over again.
That's dope.
You can see me try this out with a Consecration Slam for a little double, triple damage action on my slide into uppercut. But outside of Master or GM content, I don't really see the average red bar enemy surviving all 3 of those hits, the wave, the stasis, and then the slam. It kind of reminds me of my old stasis Titan build, where the whole idea was to just create as many stasis crystals as possible for AoE damage. This definitely helps facilitate that. You could do maybe like a Cryoclasm better slides situation, and you slide into your own crystals, combo that with Howl of the Storm, which, you know, I know those aren't the greatest aspects in the world, but I'm just kind of looking for just synergies here. Diamond Lance and Tectonic Harvest are definitely a bit stronger overall aspects, though, and you can probably upkeep Frost Armor quite a lot, and Frost Armor is pretty heavily featured in the seasonal artifact, as we'll discuss. Throw on Agriceptor, you're probably doing pretty well for yourself. So it is possible to have an accidental trigger of this, as you might have seen in my gameplay. It's any kind of explosive self-damage that happens. Now, that doesn't happen a ton, but an easy example might be shooting a target point blank with a rocket sidearm. Those things hurt you as well if you're right next to an enemy as you shoot it, but generally speaking, I think the accidental triggers will be relatively rare. Right now, with my limited time with the exotic, I'm kind of on the this does something neat, but I'm not sure where it fits just yet train. It doesn't have that clear-cut synergy that the Warlock or Hunter exotic does, so I'm interested in seeing if this does find a place in...
But I mean, like, the Titan exotic itself sounds pretty interesting. It sounds kind of fun, in my personal opinion. Fuck, man.
To people's kits, or if it's just going to be deemed an interesting effect with no real greater purpose than that. Finally, Hunters, you have the Mask of Fealty, where your Withering Blades hits and bounces create a small crystal and refund some melee energy. Using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering Blades. So you throw a blade at a target, a frozen target, or a crystal, and then out comes a bunch of Withering Blades, which is neat, but we'll see how good it actually is. Now, unfortunately, there was an issue with my Hunter clip on this exotic, so I am borrowing from my friend Leopard.
I totally fell asleep and
so
forgot.
You throw a blade, frozen than that. Finally, Hunters, you have the Mask of Fealty, where your
Withering Blade hits and bounces to create a small stasis crystal. Refund a portion of the melee energy. Using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering
Blades hits and bounces create a small crystal and refund some melee energy. using Withering Blade to shatter crystals or frozen targets releases a spread of Withering Blades. So you throw a blade at a target, a frozen target, or a crystal, and then out comes a bunch of Withering Blades, which is neat, but we'll see how good it actually is. Now, unfortunately, there was an issue with my Hunter clip on this exotic, so I am borrowing from my friend Leopard here, who is a bit new to the capture scene, to the capture event scene. So, look, I got what I got. Okay, so you're probably like, oh, this might be cool with the prismatic setup that hunters use with Winter Shroud and dodging a lot and punching and blah blah blah, or maybe you weren't. I don't know, but part of what makes that build work is the melee to class ability chaining, back and forth, which runs combination blow. With this exotic, we need to run Withering Blade, and we need to run not Liar's Handshake or some kind of exotic class item either. Now, you could probably run this in Prismatic if you really wanted to force the issue, but I'm going to lean more towards a pure stasis setup for this build as a result. We got Winter Shroud with Grim Harvest, maybe Touch of Winter instead of Winter Shroud to guarantee some more frozen targets with your grenade, whether it's Glacial for crystals or Duskfield for a single crystal or Cold Snap to just freeze targets outright. Now, considering how much Frost Armor stuff is in the artifact, you might want to invest into Frost Armor fragments like Rime or Chains, maybe Fractures, but if you wanted to forego that for more Shattering or Melee / class ability energy gains, I could see that as well. Again, I didn't really get to do too much testing of all the different variations of this setup. I barely got to capture what I did. But after digging through all of the stasis fragments, there is a ton of room to explore with this exotic, whether you want to go into more Frost Armor or heavy ability energy gains or freeze effect heavy. I'm going to leave it open-ended for now since we're going to have this in our hands pretty soon anyway, but I'm probably looking forward to trying this one out the most because I think it has the most potentially interesting results. Next, we're going to talk about the weapon Alethonium. That one. Was I correct? Pronunciation. Okay, it's just a quick sidebar. I'm trying to just find how to pronounce this word because I don't know how to say it. And it says the American, not the English, the American pronunciation of the word Alethonim. I'm gonna guess it. I'm gonna say Alethonim is not available. But here's some information on how to pronounce the word "the" in American English. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. No, I wanted to really know how to say "the." Let's call it Alethonim. How about that? Alethonim. Truly, I wish I had more to say about this weapon, but despite its very cool looks and its very stasis theme, this weapon does not have any super crazy stasis effect. Instead, it is an ammo generating weapon. You kill stuff to collect vestiges, then when you're in between 50 and 99% energy on vestige, you can hold reload to charge it, and then your next shot will spawn special ammo. If you do it at 100%, it's heavy ammo. Now, it is a primary ammo grenade launcher, so you just shoot this thing forever like a Fighting Lion situation, but otherwise, yeah, it makes ammo. Yeah, that's not a horrible thing. We only have so many makes ammo type effects in the game, so if people want to play a support role, that's cool. But I will admit, I was hoping for something a bit more stasis-y, as opposed to, yeah, it just makes some ammo. So we got the artifact. Ignore any dev type things like $signs and all of this. This was an old build. It's obviously not going to have any of that stuff in the live game, but I don't want to take individual screenshots because I'm lazy. First off, it does feel like Bungie is experimenting with some...
Okay. Give me a second, Shadows. I'm falling asleep here. think I'm gonna stand up and listen. I need to walk around. Like, this is just so invigorating. It's just so invigorating. All right, next video. We'll pause this
Logitech
one.
just.
Back to Aztecross.
In Destiny, we have a lot to share. It's all about our next episode, Revenant, which is launching in less than a week on October the 8th. We can't wait to see you all ripping and tearing the Scorn as Slayer Barons, playing new activities, using new gear, and testing your abilities. So how about you check what's in the oven for today? Did you watch our Tuesday stream? New episode means new artifacts, a sneak peek of exotic armor changes, weapons tuning, and new weapon mods, a preview of the new weapon rewards, as well as the new Ironbender armor and weapons, fixing some legendary ornaments. We also have a newly reprised strike coming, our first Discord quest, and Hurricane Helene support. Hell yeah. Onwards. Now watch our Revenant dev stream. The wait is almost over, only 5 more days to go before you can start playing Revenant. Fikro is back, wielding a new power, able to transform his Scorn into something more dangerous than ever, but we have Mithrax and Ido on our side to help find him once more. The talented Destiny 2 dev team talked about this and more in our latest dev stream, which we have just below for those of you who are busy on Tuesday and want to rewatch it. Yeah, we did a breakdown of everything, guys. We even did like a TLDR version, about 15 minutes long, but it covered everything in there because there's a lot of information, not just for Revenant, but also for Frontiers. Now learn all about the new artifact. The elemental focuses for this episode will be Stasis, Arc, and Void. Act 1 features the most Stasis mods we have ever added to an artifact. Frost Armor plays a key role in the artifact's build crafting, granting you increased bonuses to Stasis. Then while you're getting in close with the protection of Frost Armor, you'll also gain increased close range combat potency. Shotguns and SMGs are picking up some anti-champion capabilities, as well as a couple finisher focused mods. It will also be a great time to bring your favorite grenade launchers up to the light level and live out your artillerist fantasies. All right, so these are our artifact mods, which we already covered. The two that we did not see were this one in this column 5. So it would be Supernova and Brain Freeze. So Brain Freeze right here, frozen combatants become surrounded by Chilling Fog, which slows combatants that aren't already. Weapons with the Dark Ether Reaper origin trait deal more damage.
So anti-barrier scout rifle, one with the frost. While frost armor is active, stasis weapons gain increased reload speed and stability. Stasis swords gain increased guard resistance. Rapid stasis weapon precision hits grant you a stack of frost armor. I never really understood frost armor. Rapid precision hits from weapons with Dark Ether Reaper origin trait grant you more stacks of frost armor. Dealing stasis weapon damage to slowed targets has a chance to spawn a stasis shot. Armor of Aramis. While frost armor is active, taking critical damage from combatants causes you to emit a freezing burst. That sounds cool. Increase radius of strength of the freezing burst. Oh, that's the boost thing with the fucking potions, isn't it? Brain Freeze. Frozen combatants become surrounded by chilling fog, which slows combatants that aren't already. Weapons of the Dark Ether Reaper origin trait will deal more damage to frozen combatants.
Damage to frozen combatants.
Look at the Overload submachine gun. Killing Breeze. Rapid weapon final blows grant you a bonus to mobility. Weapon final blows with Dark Ether Reaper origin trait count as more than 1. Crystalline Converter. Gather stasis shards to gain stacks of Crystalline Converter. Your next powered stasis melee hit creates stasis crystals equal to the number of stacks you have. Stasis weapon final blows after activating your class abilities spawn a stasis shard. Crystallize Auto Loader. Shattering stasis crystals releases shards of ice that damage and slow targets. As a boost to it, shadowing frozen targets and stasis crystals deals increased damage. That with Hoarfrost, or whatever the fuck that chest piece is for Titan, sounds interesting. Picking up a Void Breach causes your next source of void damage to create a large weakening pulse. Cool.
And Supernova, picking up a Void Breach causes your next source of void damage to create a large weakening pulse. Now, We've already covered all of this, and we've got a list of weapons that we believe are going to synergize the best here. But just know that the theme here is very focused around stasis. Grenade launchers are also looking really, really good. And not only that, this particular mod interests me the most. Kinetic impacts or sustained damage with a power grenade launcher causes combatants to emit a shockwave that damages nearby combatants. Think of it as like kinetic trimmers, but for your grenade launcher. The question is how does that work with things like Anarchy? Anarchy does tick damage over time. Can it reproc that? Is there a cooldown for that? Other things that I'm curious about are things like Salvation's Grip, which lays out this wave of stasis crystals. Could the kinetic trimmer damage proc off of that, or kinetic impact damage here proc off of that? Does it shatter the stasis crystals? Could it reproc? So overall, guys, things are looking really, really good for GLs. And there's some other things that synergize with Void and Arc. And we'll have a list of weapons that we believe are going to be the most potent here. Now, exotic armor tuning for Revenants. We have a lot to cover in this twist, so let's jump right into the exotic armor changes for Revenant. So for Hunter, oh boy, Lucky Pants. Lucky Pants has long been one of the more complicated exotic armor pieces, and the limitations were necessary because of the maximum strength of its perk.
Complicated? Who the fuck finds Lucky Pants complicated, bruh?
Unfortunately, the high-end strength of Lucky Pants was causing constraints in terms of other PvE balancing, so we've decided to kill 2 hive moths with one shot and reduce the complexity while bringing down the maximum potency. To offset this, we have also added some new benefits to the exotic, which will be especially nice for our movement-focused hand cannon users who enjoy stompies, but wish they also improved airborne effectiveness and handling. It now provides movement bonuses, including increased slide distance and sprint speed when a hand cannon is equipped. Okay. Airborne effectiveness bonus is active whenever a hand cannon is equipped, not just when the illegally modded holster buff is active. Now, it no longer requires the hand cannon to be matched to the super damage type or kinetic to receive the PvE damage buff. Again, you would have to either match it or use a kinetic. Out of luck cooldown will only be triggered.
See, the thing is, though, is that I only ever use Lucky Pants with fucking... I forgot the name already. The Taken fucking hand cannon, the exotic hand cannon. I only used it with that. So, this change doesn't really... So, whatever.
Trigger if you reach 7 stacks of the PvE damage buff before swapping off the weapon or time expires. The maximum damage has been decreased from 600% to now 450%. Hunters, how are we feeling about this? So look, hold on. The out of luck cooldown.
That's a massive drop, though. I get why they're doing it, because Lucky Pants is pretty fucking strong, but I only ever used it in Warlord's Ruin. I never used it anywhere else, personally, because I quite liked... I'm more of a guy that likes to have survivability, or assisting teammates, or just like real niche shit. So I never really focused on Lucky Pants until someone mentioned it in Warlord's Ruin. So yeah, like that's a big drop, but yeah, I feel hunters are probably not gonna like that, but I'm not a hunter main, so I wouldn't know. The dog upstairs is fucking annoying, so if you hear it, my apologies.
Remember, you would get the buff, you would reach its maximum benefits. Once that time duration was out, you would have, what was it, around 10?
Also, standing up is definitely better. I feel more awake now and not falling asleep in my chair. Sorry, Dado, if you somehow ever watch this. I highly doubt it, but if you do, sorry for falling asleep. You've just got a nice voice.
Seconds there where you had a cooldown before you can reproc Lucky Pants and that increased damage. Here, though, it says out of luck cooldown will only trigger if you reach 7 stacks of the PvE damage buff before swapping off the weapon or time expires. So there is a way in which you can keep the buff going, but you won't be able to reach maximum stacks, which is unfortunate and also goes against what you're trying to do because of the hand cannon. The idea is to get to those max stacks as quickly as you can to get the most damage so that you can sustain. That's why weapons that are burst fire weapons, especially like Warden's Law, it reaches those maximum stacks so fast. That way you can utilize that maximum damage for a longer duration. I think at PvP, this is a good buff. I think at PvE, though, it's definitely a nerf. All right, Young Humcar Spine. We are wanting to take another swing at these to better preserve the previous PvE gameplay while keeping a handle on their effectiveness at PvP. Once again, provides ability energy on trip mine grenade hits instead of final blows. Provides 33% grenade energy in PvE and 8% in PvP. Dude, that change right there, kill trip mine. for young Homkar's spine. I mean, it killed it for me because before, as long as it would get attacked, it would provide ability energy. And yes, inside of PvP, it was very potent because what would happen is you could essentially just get your trip mine grenade back in a single explosion. But inside of PvE, when they went to just kills instead of hits, that killed it. So good. I'm glad this change happened. I can't remember what the percentage was before, but we'll have to just test it whenever it rolls through. Now, Blight Ranger. Blight Ranger is rooted in boosting Arc Staff's reflection, but is primarily seen used for some niche tactics that leverage its out-of-band orb power generation. To make it more viable in the broader game without deviating from its fantasy, we've replaced that behavior with elements from Raju's Harness. So added the ability to cancel your Arc Staff super while equipped, damaging and blinding nearby enemies, and granting a tier 4 Arc weapon damage boost. Damage dealt by this effect scales based on the number of projectiles reflected prior to canceling. Okay, no longer creates orbs of powers when reflecting projectiles with Arc Staff. Reflected projectiles now instead directly refund super energy and extends the duration of your super. Interesting. So we would use it.
Want to level up your new selfie for social media? Let me show you how with Adobe Photoshop's latest generation.
No, I don't.
It on like in encounters like Gorgoroth, and would produce so many orbs that you could just pop back-to-back supers. And that was our main use for Blight Ranger. Now though, it's just feeding individually to the so we use it more as a support exotic, but here you're going to be using it for just boosting yourself individually. I still feel like it's going to be situational, guys. So, but you know, we'll see what happens. Raju's Harness, with almost all of its old behavior moved to Blight Ranger. We've rebuilt Raju's Harness based on its lore tab that differentiated it from other Arc Staff exotics. It now enhances the Arc Super Gathering Storm, calling down lightning around the user when it is activated, as well as adding a neutral game source of super energy. So they fully reworked behavior of its exotic trait, Mobius Conduit, inspired by its lore tab. Activating Gathering Storm calls down lightning on all nearby targets, jolting them while also amplifying allies. Defeating Arc debuffed targets grants a small amount of Gathering Storm energy. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, Essentialism. Prismatic Hunters have access to...
That sounds interesting. Oh, I haven't fucked with too many Hunters exotics, to be honest, personally, but that sounds cool.
Lots of stacking melee damage bonuses, which all compound with each other, leading to some out-of-band melee damage. Spirit of Syntheseps already provides a lower bonus if you also have Combination Blow active. In Revenant, it will provide the same lower bonus when the Stylist Executioner buff is active. So Spirit of Syntheseps reduce the melee damage bonus provided when both Bionic Enhancements and Stylist Executioner are active by 50%. Wow. That's a pretty big nerf, guys. That's a pretty big nerf. I mean, what this really, for me, what this does is I'm like, all right, Bionic Enhancement's getting nerfed. Liar's Handshake, Caliban, all day long. You know what I mean? All right, now Titan. Icefall Mantle. Icefall Mantle's core fantasy is all about becoming an invulnerable icy tank. We have reworked it to focus on that fantasy by making it all about providing and improving frost armor instead of providing stasis weapon damage. You can now gain a stack of frost armor for rapid stasis final blows. Each time you gain a stack of frost armor from any source, you will heal for a small amount. That's going to go so well with the artifact mods. The unique class ability granted by Icefall Mantle now provides maximum stacks of frost armor.
Off topic here real quick, I don't even know if you, Shadows, or even my girlfriend realizes how much I love Yu-Gi-Oh! I've been still trying to figure out a Yu-Gi-Oh! Tattoo for the longest time, and I still can't figure one out. Yeah, I don't know.
Instead of its custom overshield. You will also immediately heal for each stack that gets added. It will no longer prevent sprinting or jumping abilities. It now works when Thruster is equipped. Oh my god. Class ability energy now begins to recharge immediately after using Icefall Mantle's class ability. The burst of stasis energy from the class ability now freezes combatants and slows players. No longer provides bonus stasis weapon damage. Now requires a stasis super to be equipped to benefit from its exotic effects. All right? That's a massive W. No, that's huge, man. All the complaints we had about Icefall Mantle pretty much in one fell swoop, especially the fact that it's going to work with our thruster ability. That's huge. This is going to be, I mean, it's definitely going to be something I'm going to utilize in PvP. Cadmus Ridge Landscape. We feel this exotic has a fun and gameplay loop that was a bit too restricted, so we're relaxing some of its requirements. Remove the stasis weapon requirement. Now any final blows are rapid precision hits while behind a rally barricade, and with the stasis super equipped will create a diamond lance near you. So they removed that stasis requirement. Now directly hitting any powerful combatant with a diamond lance will now create 3 stasis crystals. Previously only bosses and vehicles would create additional crystals. Now Ursa Furiosa and Spirit of the Bear. Now that Unbreakable has been live for a bit, we feel these exotics could provide additional super energy for using it in PvE. However, The gains provided in PvP related to players getting access to their super more quickly than we would like. Really? Increase maximum super energy gain for Unbreakable in PvE from 15% to 20%. From 15% to 20%. Fix an issue where you were gaining more.
Shout out to Azzacross, by the way, for reading this all for me so I don't have to. I'm just here listening to it and dropping in my notes when I need to.
More super energy from Unbreakable in PvP than intended. Now provides a maximum of 10%. Guys, this is the first I've heard of Spirit of the Bear, Ursa Furiosa, and Unbreakable being an issue in PvP. I actually feel like Unbreakable is garbage. Unbreakable is straight shite. This may just be the shittiest aspect in the game.
Really? I think Unbreakable's dope, in my personal opinion. I love that shield aspect. But Unbreakable is one of my favorites, and I haven't taken it off. Whether it's the meta or not, it's fucking cool in my opinion.
Alright, Heroes of the Fallen Star are Yeet exotic. We would like heroes to feel less required to make Thunder Crash viable, but to also improve it to be more valuable across the whole of an activity. We are reducing its Thunder Crash damage multiplier, but when this is combined with the buff to base Thunder Crash damage, the overall damage will remain the same. We're also adding the ability for it to help generate super energy for Thunder Crash, as well as transitioning the exotic to provide damage resistance instead of an overshield to bring it better in line with the Arc subclass. So melee final blows while amplified now grant super energy. Okay. Reduce the damage bonus from Curious to Thunder Crash from 2 times to now 1.55 times. This keeps the overall damage similar to what it was previously, which was bad. Replace the overshield after impact with damage resistance 50% in PvE.
It's also another thing where, like, again, I don't do a lot of damage testing and all that shit, and I know Azzacross has a lot more miles on this shit than I do, especially when it comes to damage supers and testing and all of that. But I never found Thunder Crash to be bad. I never found Kuros to be bad. It's still solid. You still are asked to throw it on. And like Thunder Crash when you're doing specific DPS, especially in raids. So I don't get the shade thrown at it personally. But again, he does more damage testing and the numbered shit than I do. He knows which super does the most damage and with what specific thing. So he's definitely the dude to believe, but I've never seen it as an issue.
And 10% in PvP. All right, here's the thing. Depending on what the melee final blows portion is going to be, like that's the only thing I'm looking at. Like, okay, maybe we can make a play with that. How much super energy can we double stack it with hands on, things like that. But Thunder Crash damage is so terrible, even with the Yeet exotic. I feel like it would have been okay to leave it at 2 times, considering how much damage Twilight Arsenal does. And on top of that, you've got exotic class items with that provides feast, and you could sit there and amplify your damage of your other supers substantially. I mean, I guess this could apply here to the Titan as well. Yeah, because you got Thunder Crash right there. I just in a world of like this being lowering, I'm now going to go Star Eater on my class items for everything if I'm going to amplify my damage. But even with that, I'm probably just going to rock Spirit of Star Eater with Thunder Crash. Now, Peacekeepers. While Peacekeepers has been a presence in Crucible for some time, it never really felt like it had a real place in PvE combat or content. We have given it characteristics that resemble Lucky Pants, but for SMGs, with a PvE damage bonus that escalates.
That sentence, bro. That sentence. Play it back again.
That resemble Lucky Pants, but for SMGs.
Resemble Lucky Pants, but for SMGs. Doesn't that sound cool? I barely fucking touch SMGs, bro. But damn, that sounds cool.
The PvE damage bonus that escalates as you deal more damage. We've heard rumors it pairs nicely with a couple of exotic weapon buffs below. So dealing...
Bro. I just thought of this now. And I'm blanking on the name. But the fucking Arc Conductor exotic. Risk Runner. Holy shit. That, with some arc damage, could be tasty.
Damage to combatants with an SMG increases SMG damage for a short time. Maximum of 20 stacks. 100% bonus damage. Lasts for 1 second. Each hit adds a stack and refreshes the timer. Oh, that's a very small amount of time. So essentially, like, you got to find that next target and find it fast. But as long as you are getting another hit, each hit adds a stack and refreshes the timer. All right, Wrist Runner. It's gonna be fantastic for this. No precision hits required. You can literally lay on it as long as you're taking arc damage. You're auto reloading the weapon. Could we do things like, you could do things like Huckleberry. I think Osteostriga could also be thrown in this. Terrible wouldn't be bad considering the damage buff. Now, Mask of the Quiet One. We wanted to lean into the vampiric nature of this exotic by...
Yes. Not Mask of the Quiet One. I'm talking about Taraba and Osteostriga. Huckleberry even. Bro, that sounds good. That sounds exciting and fun.
Allowing it to grant access to the Potent Devour status effect, in addition to its previous effects. Rapid final blows and final blows while at critical.
Sorry, another thing. I can't remember the last time I picked up an SMG other than when I was doing an SMG bounty or leveling up a weapon. So this is exciting.
Health will now grant Devour. This effect requires a Void Super to be equipped. Okay, I love that they're giving Devour here to Mask of the Quiet One. It actually makes sense considering just the look of the exotic. No, that's good. That's really good. That's worth it. On top of the benefits that Mask of the Quiet One already provides, which are not good enough, you need Devour for this. And then the benefits that Devour brings, not outside of just your life that's coming back, which is a bit nerfed here on Titans versus Warlocks, but also the ability regeneration. Now, Stoicism. We felt that limiting Spirit of the Horn, Alpha Lupi, and Hoarfrost's effects to only work with barricades didn't align with the goals of Prismatic as a way to break past the limits. So we are updating them to also work with Titan's Thruster ability. Hell yes. Spirit of the Horn, activating Thruster leaves a ball of solar energy behind, exploding and applying scorched enemies caught in the blast. Spirit of Alpha Lupi, activating Thruster heals you and nearby allies. Spirit of Hoarfrost, activating Thruster spawns a pair of stasis crystals. All right. I love Thruster ability. That's my favorite ability there on Titan. That's good. Now, Warlock, Ballador's Wrath Weavers. We are further enhancing this exotic support capabilities while tweaking it to allow bonus super shatter damage to be more useful in a raid environment. Adjusted the Hearts of the Ice perk to increase the shatter damage of targets frozen by Shadebinder's super projectile by 100%, regardless of who breaks them out. Added granting frost armor to your allies with False Pulse, or Winter's Wrath grants you super energy, ranges, and potency based on how many allies it is granted to.
Right, we're at the 2-hour mark. We're going to drop another ad. If you want to stick around, you're welcome to stick around. If you want to leave a come back, again, as I said, bathroom break, food break, water break, stand up, stretch. Feel free to leave the tab on if you want to. You don't have to. I'll see you guys in a bit. And for the subscribers, we'll just chill about till everyone gets back. Here we go. You see my PlayStation controller? Oh, it's already over. Sweet. Shadows, I need to go to the bathroom. So I'll be right back. Sorry, but I gotta go. I'll be right back. Showing my girlfriend my Yu-Gi-Oh cards. BRB.
The only thing that could be bad is to take it too seriously. In other words, if you take the fundamental idea that the whole universe, all its forms, is a form of biological game. It's a dancing thing, dancing thing, dancing thing. The only thing that could be bad is to take it too seriously. In other words, if you take the fundamental idea that the whole universe, all its forms, is a form of biological game, it's a dancing thing, 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 dancing. It's a dancing thing, dancing thing, dancing thing, dancing thing, dancing thing.
I don't know the lyrics. When I ring, see it in my heart. Anyway.
Okay. Now, Skull of Dire Ahamkara, to help you sling more Nova bombs, we are giving a neutral game benefit to Skull of Dire Ahamkara that feels fitting for the Void Walker playstyle. Added weapon defeats while Devour is active grants super energy, ranges from 1 to now 4.5%, depending on the target type defeated. So what we do here, guys? We go Skull of Dire Ahamkara. You could double stack it with what? Bad Juju. Problem is bad Juju just doesn't feel good, man. Just doesn't feel good. I don't know. Maybe this works. I mean, look, I'm willing to try with bad Juju and just see how insane the super energy regeneration can get to. Now, Sanguine Alchemy. Warlocks has some of the lowest exotic armor variety in PvP, and for a while, it just felt like they were missing a target marking exotic in the same realm as Knucklehead Radar or One Eye Mass. What better candidate to fulfill that role than the one that already used to do it, Sanguine Alchemy? We wanted to be careful and make sure that the target marking didn't feel unfair to find in Crucible like it did in its original iteration. We also wanted to make sure it was in line with the soon-to-be upcoming post-nerf state of Knucklehead Radar. So to activate target marking, you must damage a target from within a rift, and the mark will fall off after 5 seconds compared to just look at them and get 7 seconds of marking from the current KR. Now marks targets you damage while standing in a rift. You do 10% extra damage from any source against marked targets. Now provides surge times 4 to weapons that match your super damage. Okay. Now, Verity's Brow and Spirit of Verity. We are front-loading more of the bonus grenade damage for this exotic to increase its potency, even if you are unable to build to full stacks. The first stack of Death Throws now provides 40% grenade damage in PvE, up from 20%. Each additional stack now provides 50% grenade damage, up to a max of 100% at 5 stacks. PvP bonus damage is unchanged. Now, Cenotaph Mass. We heard your feedback that hiding the target marker from the player wearing Cenotaph was confusing. And so we are reverting that change. Damaging a vehicle, boss, or champion with a trace rifle will once again visually mark the target for the player using Cenotaph. Yeah, I felt like that change.
Hi there. There are so many ways that people talk about to earn an extra income stream, and a lot of them are hard work.
Fuck off.
That just made it too confusing, man. Now, Osmiomantic Gloves. Osmiomantic Gloves can feel frustrating to play against in PvP, as they can allow cold snap seekers to catch players in ways that feel unfair. We wanted to address that without adjusting the bonus grenade energy they provide to keep the PvE viability intact. So we reduce the increased seeker distance and speed by 50%. Oh wow. Okay then. Now, Speaker Sight. We pretty rapidly pulled that parachute on Speaker Sight Orb Generation and Crucible, as it made for some less favorable play patterns. After some iteration and internal playtesting, we think we've landed in a spot where we can bring back the Orb Generation and Crucible without encouraging self-damage and stalling at the start of a match. So 6 instances of healing a damaged ally in Crucible will spawn an Orb of Power. Dude, it's still really good. Like, Speaker Sight, like, my suggestion is, if you are not a good PvP player and you're on Warlock, just rock that exotic. Like, literally just put it on, be a healer, play the healing class, and now you'll be able to spawn an Orb of Power. All right, now super damage exotic tuning. Oh boy. With Revenant, we are taking a pass at balancing the potential damage output provided to one-shot super abilities by the exotic armor pieces that enhances them. Our goal is to better standardize damage across the various options while ensuring that supers that are more challenging to use or require the players to put themselves in a disadvantaged position are more potent. Here's the
It's crazy because there's a lot of videos I want to watch, but I don't think I'll have the time to watch them today. And I don't want to watch them off stream. I want to watch them on stream. So there might have to be like a part 2 to this. I'm going to have to do some more on fucking Friday, probably.
List of exotics and super combinations we are looking to dial in, ranked by how much damage they will put out after this update, with the highest damage at the top. We've noted how much each super exotic's damage will be changing as well. So for Cures of the Falling Star plus Thunder Crash, unchanged. Pyrogale Gauntlets plus Burning Maul plus 10%. Spirit of Star Eater plus Nova Bomb minus 12%. Spirit of Star Eater plus Twilight Arsenal minus 26%. Spirit of Star Eater plus Needle Storm unchanged. Star Eater Gather Storm unchanged. Celestial Nighthawk plus Golden Gun minus 5% versus bosses only. Holy hell. And that's how Bungie gets us to use Cures of the Falling Star again. Now, we feel this order reflects the advantages and disadvantages inherent in each super. with those that are quicker and easier to use outputting less damage than those that ask more of their user. The range of damage is such that in Revenant, Celestial Nighthawk Golden Gun will still deal around 70% of the damage of a Curious Thunder Crash. So while these changes may look scary, they actually are going to bring these supers closer together in damage, allowing for more options to be competitive and viable in our most challenging content. Needle Storm and Gathering Storm were already aligned with these goals and are not receiving any adjustments. The rest received the following changes. So Curious of the Falling Star, as noted above, reduced the damage bonus from Curious to Thunder Crash from 2 times to 1.55 times. However, when paired with the increased Thunder Crash base damage, this nets out as the same overall damage compared to live. Now, Powering of Goblins increased Cyclone's damage by 10%. Spirit of Star Eater reduced the benefit granted in Nova Bomb from 70 to now 50%. Reduced the benefit granted in the Thunder Crash from 70 to 50%. Reduce the benefit granted in the Thunder Crash from 70 to 50%. When paired with the increased Thunder Crash damage, this nets out as a 50% increase to damage compared with Alive. Now, reduce the benefit granted to Twilight Arsenal from 70% to 20%.
I haven't even got to use Spirit of the Star Eater, but we all knew that it was going to get a nerf.
25%, dude. That is a hell of a nerf, man. Celestial Nighthawk reduced damage versus bosses by 5%. Look, I get the idea behind it. Bungie's saying that one and done supers should not do more damage than Tickle Fingers, which requires you to close the gap and tickle. But here's the thing. You know, Tickle Fingers, they just suck ass. You know what I mean? Nobody wants to use that super. And then not only that, if I was to use that super, it would be in PvP or clearing ads. You know what I mean? Whereas Twilight Arsenal is meant to be, you know, a heavy damage super that eliminates champions and bosses. Yes, it's one and done, but that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, the fact that they're nerfing Twilight Arsenal into the ground is kind of shitty because Titans had a really good damaging super, and now it's not looking so great.
Now, weapon tuning and new mods for Revenants. Weapon archetypes. We wanted to encourage more accurate gunplay in PvE without making content feel like a slog. So we made a small redistribution of the damage dealt by most primary weapons. In practice, this means slightly increasing the critical hit damage while reducing the body shot damage by a corresponding amount. Every subfamily has been tuned by hand, but they all generally fall within the 5 to 7% range as noted below. Auto rifles, scout rifles, pulse rifles, submachine guns, sidearms, hand cannons rebalance how PvE damage is dealt to slightly prioritize critical hits. So increase the critical hit damage by between 5 and 7% depending on the frame, but decrease body shot damage by between 5 and 7% depending on the frame. Okay? So more emphasis on landing crits inside of PvE. I just hope that when they go in here and they actually tune this by the frame. Like certain weapons are just harder to land multiple crits with, especially on like enemies that move and dive around a bunch. You know what I'm saying?
Especially with the fucking teleporting, dude. Holy shit, the fucking teleporting. It has got to stop.
Again, though, that 5 to 7%.
It's just got to fucking stop. It's got to stop.
Mark, I mean, it's a small range to begin with. So, you know, it's definitely going to hurt weapons that have a struggle at landing those crits. But as you guys say, it's a good moment. Now, Heavy Burst Pulse Rifles have been a tale of two worlds. Incredibly strong in PvE, and unfortunately not up to par in PvP. We wanted to bring them more in line for both sandboxes, so we've increased their RPM by approximately 20, while reducing their PvE damage to slightly more than offset the faster rate of fire. This ends up granting them a faster time to kill PvP, while reducing their DPS by approximately 10% in PvE. And Pulse Rifles Heavy Bursts includes Graviton, Lance, and Revision Zero's Heavy Burst. Increase RPM from 300 to 324. Decrease damage in PvE by 18% for legendary weapons in this subfamily. Graviton Lance and Revision Zero's Heavy Burst mode reduced by only 8% here. Okay, when you look at the DPS charts, guys, for like primary weapons, dude, at the top is this archetype. It's very, very good. We'll have to just see like how much of a pullback this is going to be, but the increased rate of fire though is something. I think they said it's going to go from a 0.87 TTK value to 0.8, which is really nice inside of PvP. I think it's still going to be a very good archetype, guys. You know, Corrasion, Nullify, I think those are still going to be very, very strong weapons, and, you know, for my folks rocking Graviton Lance and whatever else. Now, Sniper Rifles have felt out of place in PvE content for quite some time without any defined role if they are not top tier for DPS. We want to change that and further reward using snipers against more than just bosses. So we have greatly increased their non-boss damage and greatly reduced their flinch against combatants. In Crucible, while it is a positive that players feel they can challenge snipers and not worry about being shot through flinch, the amount of camera movement the flinch imparts is unnecessarily jarring. So we are going to begin walking that back until we find an acceptable middle ground. So sniper rifles, reduce flinch against combatants by 50%, reduce camera roll against players by 10%, increase damage against minors 60%, majors 75%, mini bosses 35%, champions 25%. Darcy meta. No lie, guys. No lie. I know we're normally trolling about Darcy, but with the new artifact mods, Darcy actually might be pretty good. Outside of that, I mean, like Cloud Strike and things like that. Now, glaives are going to get more substantial.
I need to use Cloud Strike more. I genuinely like Cloud Strike as a weapon.
Overhaul in episode 3, but for now, we wanted to correct a long, lingering issue where previews of the magazine size could be incorrect depending on your perks. So Glaive corrected an issue where perks that change the magazine size could sometimes display incorrect preview values. Exactly what we wanted, baby. No lie, I'm really curious about the overhaul coming in episode 3. I will say, Edge of Concurrence on Hunter, very, very good. Really, really good. Now, shotguns have struggled to find their identity in PvE in a world where fusions and rocket sidearms are strong and less risky to use. So we've taken a step to greatly increase the range of PvE only to allow players to utilize them at slightly safer distances in high-end content. Shotguns, minimum damage after fall off has been increased from 0 to 40% for damage versus AI only. Dude, I love this right here. The fact that Bungie can go in and have a range buff just in PvE and not affect PvP, what more proof do you need, guys, to see that Bungie has been able to separate PvE and PvP sandboxes? And the only time you see an overlap of nerfs or buffs is because Bungie wanted it so. But that's a massive buff, especially coming for, considering we have, what's the anti-barrier shotgun. All right, rocket assisted sidearms are the kings of the mount in PvE right now. And a large part that stems from their ability to be effectively used as a primary weapon. We'll be taking a larger look at their dominance and heresy. But for now, we will reduce their ammo reserves by 25% to make them not quite as freely usable without building into special ammo. Rocket-assisted sidearms reduce reserved ammo by 25%. I'm really curious to know what they're going to do past that point. Guys, there's a way to navigate around this.
Which is true, because rocket sidearms are really cool, but they're also really potent. So, yeah, I don't know.
Obviously, you know, I would say at this point, start using special finishers, things like that. This statement right here, we'll be taking a large look at their dominance and heresy. Let's pump the brakes here, Bungie. Okay, can we calm down? Look, I know we like rocket assisted sidearms, but you know, let's just see. You want to do this ammo nerf? Do the ammo nerf, but let's just kind of hold off on whatever you want to do inside of heresy. Now, Trace Rifles can be strong in the right hands at Crucible, but for most players, they are too ammo hungry to get use out of them. So Trace Rifles increase base spawn and crate PvP ammo from 25 to 29. Right now, adaptive machine guns are the strongest in both Crucible and PvE, but we feel high impacts have some room to grow, so we've increased their critical hit damage slightly. Machine guns high impact increase critical hit damage by 4%. Heavy ammo grenade launchers have turned into something of a fire in the general direction and get kills weapon that also benefits from having a substantial amount of ammo in both sandboxes. We want to push them slightly more in the direction of accurate fire on stronger targets and reward direct impacts. In addition, rapid fires have lingered on the low end for a while, so we are directly buffing their damage to be more competitive. So heavy ammo grenade launchers, general, decrease damage from detonation by 5% against combatants. Increase projectile impact damage correspondingly globally. In PvE, total damage is the same, just split differently between detonation and impact. In PvP, heavy grenade launchers now deal approximately 7% and 26% more impact damage, depending on the blast radius stat. Now, rapid fires increase rapid fire frame impact and detonation damage by 7%. So more emphasis on direct impacts, as it should be, right? Now, PvP weapon micro tuning. The global weapon tuning that we made to Crucible in our 7.3.5 update was done in the form of a perk that was applied to all players the moment they loaded into a Crucible game. While this gave us freedom to iterate far more rapidly than normal, it came at the cost of us not having nearly as much granularity as we normally would in terms of balancing weapon subfamilies. In Revenant, we have undertaken the task of moving all of that tuning out of the weapons and into the base PvP damage values, which means almost every primary weapon in the game has had its damage changed by a small fraction of a percent. Most weapons had their damage changed by less than 0.1% per bullet. Where possible, we erred on the side of damage increase, and the exact changes will be in the 8.1.0 patch notes. But we've collected some highlights below where we change weapons by larger amounts to alter their behavior in the Crucible. So nerfs, adaptive hand cannon, space damage. Okay, this is the nerfs I talked about last week. 44.7 to 44.5, critical hit damage from 80.3 to 80.1, slightly reduces 3-tap range once damage fall off has begun, less than a meter. Adaptive auto rifles, critical damage from 26.5 to 26.25, reduce forgiveness against high resilience tiers, so things like Summoner. High impact pulse rifles, critical hit damage from 40.1 to 39.6, lowers the resiliency threshold to force 6 crits instead of 5 crits one body to 5. Headseeker is still going to be very important. Messenger, things like that. Buffs, adaptive submachine gun, space damage from 10.9 to 11.5, decrease body shot time to kill. Okay. Precision auto rifle, space damage from...
That's going to go great with Peacekeepers.
19 to 19.4, critical hit damage from 33.6 to 33.95. Reduces the nerf they received into the light by 50%. I actually think precisions are going to be pretty good. Centrifuge, Prosecutor, especially considering Prosecutor, you can enhance the perks. I think after this change, like I'm going to be breaking out Prosecutor again. If you got a good roll, Ammon, yeah, you got Ammon, things like that. Now, high impact auto rifles, base damage from 22 to 23, critical hit damage from 40.1 to 41.4, slightly increases forgiveness and range after damage fall off. Yeah, I mean, if you got, I mean, look, Age of Bond, I think it's like one of the best feeling high impact auto rifles. We'll see how it shakes out here, man. I mean, base damage going up a whole point, critical hit damage going up almost 1.5. So, yeah. Precision hand cannons, base damage from 40.4 to 45.3, critical hit damage from 70.25 to now 70.2, decreased body shot time to kill. Heavy burst hand cannons, base damage 23.8 to 24, critical hit damage from 49.6 to 52.8. Slightly increases forgiveness and range after damage fall off, allows better interaction with damage boosts. Heavy burst pulse rifles, critical hit damage 41.95 to 42.55. RPM also increased to 320, or I guess 324, I thought they said. Decreases optimum time to kill from 0.87 seconds to 0.8 seconds. Might be really good, guys. Look, man, Nullify is a fantastic PvE weapon, but I've talked about it before. It's actually a really good PvP weapon, even in the current sandbox. Now, aggressive scout rifles. Critical hit damage from 91.1 to now 91.8. Allows better interaction with damage boosts. This will also apply to Dead Man's Tale. Now, exotic weapons. For our Revenant exotic weapon balance pass, we focus on weapon types and elements that would be featured in the artifact, as well as those that have been in need of some love for a while. Choir of One shipped just a little bit too hot in PvE, both in terms of how much ammo it could carry in reserves and how much damage it was dealing at point blank range. On the other hand, in PvP, players quickly realized they had the opposite problem, with not nearly enough ammo and insufficient damage against players when fired from the hip. So, reduce base reserves from 250 to 200. Reduce maximum reserves from 384 to 300. Reduce impact damage of the point blank projectile by 50%. Increase hipfire and projectile damage against players by 10%. Wow. Okay. Let me say this about this. And then I seem like Bungie completely forgot to add this. The reduce impact damage of the point blank projectile by 50%. Supposedly that was a bug. Now, that was a bug with Divinity. So I need confirmation from Bungie. Is this a reduce impact damage of the point blank projectile by 50% overall, or just with Divinity? Because originally we were told it had finicky stuff going on with Divinity increasing its damage. All right, Huckleberry has been overshadowed by many more recent exotics, so we wanted to give it something a little more exciting. So Huckleberry now fully reloads on kills. Replace the catalyst with kinetic tremors. Dude, this in Peacekeepers is going to be nuts, fellas. Holy hell. That's wild, man. And I'm sure kinetic tremors is going to help proc and sustain that Peacekeeper buff as well. The stacks. Teraba can be a beast in the right situation, but could struggle in the higher end content. We took a note from Risk Runner to try to help solve that. Teraba, when Ravenous Beast is active, gain damage resistance against incoming solar damage. 50% versus combatants, 15% versus players. Interesting. So they're leaning into the solar aspect like Risk Runner. Wow. Oh.
That's dope. I want them to do that with Manticore, with Solar, and other exotics. The idea of being shielded by using a specific type of damage sounds really fucking cool, and I'm all for it. One of the things I love about Risk Runner, and I'm sure a lot of people do, is the fact that you get reduced damage from Arc. So the fact that we could potentially get Solar maybe Void, maybe Stasis even, maybe even fucking Strand. It sounds cool.
Okay. Symmetry. Symmetry still can have a hard...
Especially the main 3 light classes, because you get a lot of ammo attacks from those more so than the 2 darkness ones. Like, you get a lot more attacks from Solar, Void, and Arc than you do from Stasis and fucking Strand.
time getting going in high pressure situations, so we added a secondary trigger of kills to help keep its perk rolling. So Symmetry now gains a stack of dynamic charge on kills in addition to precision hits. Okay. Duality. Duality has been popular in PvP for its versatility for a long while, but has not been able to compete against similar options in PvE. We've made it a little bit easier to activate this perk and keep going alongside the above global shotgun changes.
Bro, Duality is such a cool fucking shotgun, not gonna lie. I don't use it a lot, but it's a really dope shotgun.
So Duality. On Black Wing stacks for maximum effect, reduced from 5 to 3, extended duration of the buff from 7 seconds to 10 seconds. Let me just say, guys.
Which again is another thing why I'm excited to, when I eventually get back into raiding, doing a raid with different exotics and different exotic armor is gonna allow me to play with them more. I might even do, honestly, with the rate of my situation, I don't know if I'll go through with this or not. I might even start allowing people to choose which exotic I run for the stream. You know what I mean? For the whole stream instead of just the raid. But I don't know about that one. I'll see.
Guys, if you're looking for a good shotgun to use in PvP, no lie, Duality is so good. We were using it the other day. I think it's easier to me than even Chaperone to land the precision hits. And, you know, someone pushes up close to you, you can hip fire it, use it like a regular shotgun. It's very, very good. Like, Duality is a really, really good shotgun. All right, Bad Juju. Bad Juju has a hard time getting its kill streak going in PvE, especially in higher end content. We made some changes to help it reach the higher stacks of String of Curses a bit easier. So Bad Juju increased lifetime of String of Curses from 3.5 base, or 3.5 seconds base, to 5.5 seconds base, and 7.5 seconds with the catalyst. Increased the magazine size from 27 to 36. The weapon also appears to have become more haunted than it used to be. All right, so we just literally talked about Skull of Ahamkara with Bad Juju. And we said if Bad Juju wasn't so bad, we would probably love to use it there with Skull. But with this change, oh, it's back, maybe. It's back. X-Dearest is fairly hard to use and more ammo hungry compared to similar options without a significant...
Bullshit, it's not hard to use. My partner loves that exotic. Ease of use is great.
Enough payout. We made some adjustments to make this easier to use, and it also allows the weapon to scale a bit better into higher end content. So X-Dearest increased direct hit damage versus combatants by 33%. Dude, that is huge. Why have I forgotten about this weapon? Adjusted recoil and projectile to have a much flatter trajectory by doing the following. Reduce camera recoil from firing by 50%. Increase projectile velocity. Reduce projectile gravity. Also, +5 ammo and reserves. Now spawns a moth on 2 direct hits. Reduce moth cooldown from 4 seconds to 3 seconds, shared with the kill trigger. Dude, that is so good, man. That is so good. This is actually one of my favorite exotics, guys. And I don't play Hunter. I don't really care to play Hunter. However, Moth Keepers, X-Dearest, some beautiful synergy. That is going to be disgusting next week. Now, Fighting Lion still has...
Bro's like, I forgot the exotic, but says it's his favorite.
Has a dedicated fan base, but has been overshadowed by far more recent additions to the sandbox. We added something to help it fit into some void-centric builds. So Fighting Lion now spawns a volatile burst on direct hits. Good stuff. Prospector's exotic perk has long been...
See, alright. As much as I want to finish the video, it's 57 minutes. I'm 35 in. It's 10 p.m. and I gotta end the stream here. It's unfortunate, but it's the way it is. You know, it's the way it is. I'll have to continue on with that next time. Yeah, next time. Maybe on Friday or Thursday while we wait for Liam. There's a lot more to watch. I wanted to watch some of the Halo shit too, but I just don't have time to watch any of that. So I'm just going to have to end the stream here. I will be uploading this to YouTube and the other parts as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to follow if you haven't already. Subscribe if you want to support me. I greatly appreciate it. Shout out again to I'm Really Twisted for the follow, Beautiful Disaster for the follow, Welsh Master Gaming for the follow, Mystic Dreamer for the follow. If you want to buy some merch, there's a link to some merch stores there. If you want to vote for the next main playthrough, there's a link there to vote. If you want to support me, there's a link there to donate, and feel free to join the Discord. Is there anyone we can raid? Anyone we can raid? Is anyone I'm following at the moment that's streaming? Let's go raid Zach. Why not? I don't know how much people are watching, but let's go raid Zach. Let's go for it. Fuck it. Start the raid. How many people we got? I'm unable to raid him at this time. Why? Has he turned raids off? Huh. Okay. That's fine. We'll fucking raid Welsh. Let's raid you. How many people are we raiding with? Oh, just one person? Nah, that's... Nah. Cancel raid. Well, yeah, we'll just leave it at that then. Anyway. See you all in the next one. Ka kite.